disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
Wait!
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it, man.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
You just killed a fucking man.
What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. Yeah, because you got nothing. You got nothing.
I want to get out. I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA boxing.
All right. Welcome everybody to another Boxing Podcast, broadcasting to you live from the True North. It's a good friend, Mr. BDA, and I'm sure I'm glad everybody couldn't be on board for this one. Fellas, in this episode, fantastic episode for everybody, we're going to be previewing the trio of cards that are going to be taking place this Saturday. International, we got fights in the UK, Australia, and the United States, and boy, oh boy, I think there's a little bit of everything for everybody. So we're going to talk about those fights, which will include Deontay Wilder, the return of the King, the Black Hebrew King. We're also going to be talking about Clarissa. Well, I don't know if we're going to talk about that. But Kambosos Haney, of course. We got to talk about that. There's Caleb Plant versus Durrell. Just a whole bunch of fights. It's going to be very exciting. Before we get down to that, fellas, don't forget to hit the like button. Hit the like, subscribe if you haven't subscribed already. You can check us out on Spreaker, iTunes, and Spotify. If you want to continue the gravy train rolling, you want to keep it rolling, don't forget you can donate via the Super Chat features. You're right, there's a couple of shekels that you can wire us. But it's also better if you join the membership program, because that way you get more bang for your buck. We also got a Patreon page. Otherwise, YouTube takes 30% of the cut. They want their taste. With that being said, the most important thing is you continue to support us by listening, subscribing, spreading the BDA gospel. All right, fellas? I want to give a big shout out to everybody out there in the chat. I'm talking about Reverend Pickles, J. Colt, Suits area in the house as well. Coco the Bulldog, Knot, that's K-Knot. Earl Stevens in the house. Slugger Sam, shout out to the Slugmeister. Reverend Pickles, Bray, Padja. Many more people to come, I'm sure. Fellas, thank you for joining us. Really appreciate it. All right, let's get down to it. I got Bucho and I got the Jimster. Jimmy, are you guys there? Can you guys hear me?
What up? By the way, I'm going, I've changed my name to Blue Knot Boxing.
Doc, come on. Balloon Knot Boxing? Is that what you said?
Yep.
What's the matter with you? It's this family show.
You're going to be an asshole to fucking like this sport. All right,
come on.
Point. But I'll shut up now.
It's a family show, man. Come on, man. All right, listen, the point is this. We got Deontay Wilder fighting. Let's get down to it. That's the fight that we want to really get down to here to start off the festivities. Taking place in... Where is this fight taking place? Anyway, New York. Brooklyn, New York. So I'm thinking it's the... what's it called again? The StubHub or whatever they call it?
Barclays.
Barclays, yes. Excuse me. Barclays. So we got Deontay Wilder taking on Robert Helenius. Helenius is 38 years old. It's going to be a 12-rounder. And we've got on the undercard Caleb Plant versus Anthony Durrell. And Gary Antonio Russell versus Emmanuel Rodriguez. Guys, what are your opinions on this fight?
Well, I just got to say finally. That's, the word that comes to mind for me. Finally, Durrell and Plant. I mean, that motherfucker was keeping me up at night. But, so, yeah. And Wilder's going to smoke that fucking big, tall Swede. Or Finn or whatever the fuck he is.
Iceland, I believe.
People really live there?
Apparently, man.
Oh no, that's Greenland. Sorry, never mind. I was thinking. Am I coming in at all, Mr. BDA?
Yeah, I thought you were going to give us your breakdown of the fight.
Because I was talking. I didn't hear my voice.
What?
I was talking and I didn't hear my voice.
All right, well, I hear you
loud and clear, man. If you hear me. Okay, now you hear me. Yeah, no, I think Hellenius is way too slow to do what it takes to beat Wilder, because remember, Wilder's power is out at the end of his hands, out at the end of his fist, and Hellenius doesn't have the... I mean, would he shock me? Has he learned to fucking double up on his jab to get in across that deadly zone? You got like a 1.5 area of space. That's like, if you were to like look down at Wilder while he's, boxing, you go out about 2.5, 3 feet diameter in front of him, and that's the danger zone. And if you can fight from either outside that or inside that, you're gonna be, you're gonna do well, if not beat him. But if you spend too much time in that area where most fighters stand, he just hits too hard, and he has that whipping punch, and I think he'll end up sleeping a kid. If he doesn't, it's not going to look good, because this kid Hellenius it is what it is. He's just not. I just don't like him. So
here's the deal, man.
This is at least a lip test to see where he's at, because he should, if there's any chance of this good dude ever becoming a dominant heavyweight, you got to smoke dudes like that.
Here's the deal with Hellenius. Just looking at his body language, first of all, he looks like the leader of the Vanguard, the Aryan Vanguard. Something wrong about this guy. He looks tough, but when you look at his fights and you look at his body language, he's got that same wide-eyed, deer-in-the-headlights look that we used to see from Klitschko. Vladimir Klitschko, that is, when he used to get hurt. I don't like the way this guy fights. I don't like his style. For a big man, he wants to be cute and coy and slick. That's not how he works. If he's going to beat Wilder, and you guys tell me if you agree with this, he's going to have to push him back. That's the book on Wilder. You back him up, he cannot fight backing up. He needs to set his feet, and he needs you to be at long range or middle distance, like Jimmy said, to unload with that right hand. Otherwise, he just can't do it. But I don't think that's what Hellenius is going to do. Do you guys expect Hellenius to do that, to consistently back him up?
No, because that's not been his style. I mean, unless he completely changes. But Pucho, what do you say, brother?
Well, listen, I
was muted. It's an interesting fight, but just because, with Wilder, you never know what can happen. When he's fighting this type of opposition, of course, when he fights Tyson Fury, when he's fighting high-level opposition like Tyson Fury, you know what's going to happen. He's going to lose. But in this fight, I mean, like Jimmy said, you look at Hellenius, he's a big guy, but he's pretty limited, like extremely limited. But is Wilder mentally ready for this? Because let's be honest, he took on some massive beatings. It wasn't just like he lost by stoppage. It was the fact that for a period of 10 rounds or 8 rounds, whatever, how long it lasted, he was receiving a beating. Jimmy, do you think we've seen boxers not be able to recover when they take beatings like that. I remember Vargas against Trinidad. That's my biggest example.
Yeah, I don't think personally he took enough of a sustained beating, because in the second fight, he took some shots, but once the beating really started coming, his opponent threw the towel in. I think that's what it was even so shocking to fucking Wilder. It's like, really just started taking a beating. And in the third one, I think they both came in looking to be so muscular and strong and heavy that they both did, the cardio sucked. And so that shouldn't be an excuse. I would think more the mental damage of just getting throttled. You lose your confidence. I mean, it's just like, it's so crazy because you see again, it's like I went on Twitter earlier today around 3:00, and all of a sudden everybody's like, these people are talking about how, well, you know what, the reason why his resume sucked is he tried to fight Klitschko. It's like, dude, what the fuck are these people talking about? A very crucial thing. Now think about this. This is what, after he won the world title, this is actually pretty important. I want to read this because it's shocking when I hear this is what he actually said. Shelly Finkel, the guy who manages his career, Oh, let me find that son of a bitch an article. Yeah, actually, you know what? I'm not going to waste my time trying to find it right now. Basically calls him a baby. He actually used that word, a baby. He's like, we're no rush. You know what I mean? He's just like, and he had 33 pro fights and won a title. He called him a prospect, still learning. You know what I mean? Like, just the language you would use against the guy. You know why? Because they always knew he was that guy. He always knew he was chinny, but he's got fucking dynamite in that hand, that right hand. But that's where it lies. You know what I mean? Dude never tried to even learn how to use a speed bag because fuck that, that's too difficult. What do you think? That learning the speed bag is fun? Boxers just go, I can't wait to be a boxer, dude, because doesn't that shit look fucking fun? You know what I mean? No. But once you learn how to use it, it's just about timing and rhythm of your punches and just control your hands. You know, a fighter's an artist, dude, and their fists are their paintbrushes. And if you don't know how to work them right, I mean, it's repetition. I can't stress that enough. The guys who practice hard enough, always the best. So, and he just never was that dude. So he fell in love with that right hand. And again, when you're fed no hoper after no hoper, I mean, his confidence, he didn't care. He was knocking these dudes out to a crowd screaming. Now it's time to perform. You pick a fucking 400-pound crackhead that you called a pillow-fisted, drug addict, and you thought it was going to walk through. And, you faced somebody who all of a sudden had, some boxing skills, and they took you to town. And so, again, now they matched him against another soft-assed opponent. He's going to spark him out. He's going to fucking be on there calling his fucking kingdom up and letting him know he's back. Nuts.
So, yeah, this is the thing. You're completely right. We're not going to see anything new this Saturday. And this is my question to everybody in the chat and to you guys. Like, do you expect to see something new from Wilder?
Yeah, I expect to see a new costume because he's going to be back with those two gay guys that designed his costume. So we're definitely going to see something new, guys. And I can't wait, man.
Exactly. We're not going to see anything new.
Wait, come on. I just said we will. Now, listen, you know what's going to happen? Haney is such a limited fighter. He's one of these new school 21st century fighters that's big and lumbering and unskilled. And the reason why Wilder's had a lot of success, Jimmy equated all this to an art, to painting. Well, Deontay Wilder's a guy who's still playing with crayons, but he's got one magic marker, and that's his big right hand and the hand speed. Just with that, a lot of these lumbering heavyweights can get away with it. And that's why he's had success so far, and that's why I expect him to have success against Helenius. That being said, your question, Bucho, if he starts flashing a couple of jabs, don't expect his fans to go, whoa, he's back. Look at those jabs. That's what they were saying. Remember with the 3 rounds that he had against Fury in the first 2 rounds in the third fight, he was hitting him to the body. And even then, till this day, no pun intended, his fans still go, well, he looked fantastic in those first 3 rounds. He looked fantastic. He was working the body. He was working the jab overtime. So that's what they're going to say, Bucho. They're going to look at it. If he moves side to side a little bit, even if he's off balance, they're going to go, look at that footwork. Look at that. Look at those angles. That's what they're going to say. But to answer your question,
if he just goes, yeah, exactly. They're going to start excited. I mean, some people, who was it? Somebody on the show said that they were impressed by those, by Wilder jabbing in that third Fury fight. He didn't even jab that much. And I saw something there with Wilder. He had an improved jab. I'm like, damn, man, seriously? That wasn't even a jab.
No, I mean, look. Here's the thing, though. When I say that Helenius has to back him up, what I mean by that is not just back him up and have him running around. He needs to have Deontay Wilder leaning back. That's Wilder's go-to move. His go-to defensive move. He likes to lean back, and he's been able to get away with it because A, he's so tall, and B, he's fast. He's very athletic when you get down to it. But he's 36, 37 now. 37, I believe. Like Bucho said, got caught 2 beatings in his last fight. Hasn't fought in over a year. Now, yes, heavyweights, we cut him a lot of slack in that they can prolong their lifespan more than the average fighter, right? Heavyweights, they can survive longer because of the punching power. But Wilder still relies on that speed. And with age, he's only going to be able to do what he used to do back in the day in spots. And already, he didn't have the highest punch output in boxing. So I'm very curious to see how he's going to devolve as the years go by. Is he going to have it devolved enough in this past year to give Helenius a chance? I don't know. But Helenius needs to back him up and have him leaning back and tire him out. If you look at the Duhapis fight, which was, I believe, 6 years ago, or maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, Wilder was able to survive that. He took a bit of a beating in that fight. You look at his face, you look at some of the shots he took, but that was a younger Wilder. Now, though, again, there's a lot of asterisks and a lot of question marks out there. And I'm curious to see how he looks. And I'm curious to get a feedback on the people in the chat. Mike D says he jabbed by accident. As he says, Wilder dropped body shots as soon as Fury landed the right hand. Yeah, he stopped. He was throwing those right hands to the body. And then as soon as he started getting hit and tired, all of that went out the window. So, guys, do you agree that Helenius could potentially give him a tough fight if he pressured him and went all out?
Absolutely. I mean, and Helenius should come in this fight with some confidence because Wilder is not invincible. Fury exposed him. Helenius has the attributes, that similar attributes that Tyson Fury has. Obviously not the skills and all, but he has the size, the strength, possibly to implement a similar plan such as the one Fury utilized.
But I tell you what I don't like about Helenius, because everything you said is true, Pucha. But number one, he doesn't have that mentality. Like I said, he looks like a deer in the headlights. He's got that wide-eyed look. I think he's got a bit of I don't think he's got that many balls in the ring. You look at the Washington fight, it was a very uneventful fight until Washington finally decided to let his hands go and drop this guy with a 1-2. It all started with a 1-2. He hurt him with a 1-2. And that's, Wilder's bread and butter. The other thing about Helenius is everyone goes, well, the Wilder fanatics are trying to pump this fight up by saying, well, Helenius just beat Nowatzki. Look, Nowatzki was a fat bag of milk. And in today's heavyweight era, a fatso like him and short on top of it, I mean, short for the division now, I don't see the big deal of him beating Nowatzki. Guys, what do you think about that fight? What do you think overall of Helenius as an opponent? Just put it out on the line here.
I don't rate him. I never wanted to see that fight. Dude, he got smoked. Got knocked out by Gerald Washington, didn't he? Mm-hmm. Wasn't that the dude Gerald Washington knocked out? And then he got stopped by somebody else. I mean, it was, Gerald Washington, man, the dude took a fucking dive. Wasn't he the one who took a dive against? Oh, no, that was his trainer.
No, that's a former football player or something.
Malik Scott.
Yeah, the former, Malik Scott, the trainer who fucking,
he's the one who
odds raised. Unbelievable, the Phantom Punch. But, no, so I don't. This is a give me fight. It's all it is. And the fact that it's on pay-per-view is just, it's so shocking. It's just such a affront to the sport. There's a man who doesn't even answer. No transparency. Will not discuss why the biggest fight that he could make under that fucking popsicle stand promotional company could possibly make in Crawford and Spence, and he can't get it across the line. And if yes.
This is pay-per-view PBC number 6 of 2022. Number 6.
My goodness gracious.
Oh. Yeah.
But you know what, man?
And then we get number 6, and look at the trash. Look at what it is.
Now here's the thing.
He doesn't want to answer for it. Sorry, brother. Go BDA.
Fuck. I already forgot what I was going to say. No, okay, well, let me ask you this, fellas. We all have Deontay Wilder fatigue at this point. I think I've had it with the guy. But that being said, and I think I know who's going to agree with this point, is he better for him to win this fight overall for boxing? Is it better that Wilder wins? Brings a little excitement to the division?
Of course. Yeah, that goes without saying. Yeah, of course. We want Helenius. We need him the fuck gone. All the way gone. What is that guy gonna ever do? No, Wilder, he's divisive and abrasive, but at least, he gets your blood worked up. I know he gets mine going. Maybe it isn't always for the good fucking reasons. I think he's been kind of an absolute knucklehead, how he's handled a lot of things. And he's been an embarrassment to the sport. Just the shit he said, man. The fucking, that whole, what was it? Oh, yeah, Kevin Lowe. I heard that he was so put off by that he stopped reporting on boxing. He's only specifically doing MMA now. Kevin Lowe, I mean, this is a dude who's been covering boxing for decades, and he was so put off by Wilder, the heavyweight champion, you know, face of American heavyweight boxing, and he's saying the things he said when his own people wouldn't say it. His own manager and both managers, Finkel and Dees, you know, never mind Haney, he doesn't talk, but nobody would co-sign it. And then to have him hold the fight in the same fucking arena, and then him come up with those excuses. Why would I want? Why? Of course I would. Why wouldn't I call the police? What's up, brother? I'm on it, dude. I gotta take this call, man. Fuck off, dude. I got this neighbor, dude. He's just fucking insane. Sorry, guys.
Hi, Jimmy. Don't badmouth your neighbors, man.
But he's trying to talk to me, dude. He's just walking up. I'm on the phone. Clearly, dude, right? Clearly. And he steps in front of me, dude. Like, what the fuck?
What's up? What's up? What's up?
Did he
God,
try to grab you or something?
But,
Yeah, he tried
he
to
just
get-
wants to talk to me. He's drunk anyways, but so...
Well, I mean, listen, Jimmy, you're a very fascinating figure. I would like to talk to you in person too if you were my neighbor all the time.
I hired his clown. Like, he just did over the stairs. He's from Brazil. He's excellent with masonry. So every time he sees me, my friend, I do this. Like, dude, I'm not your fucking ATM, dude. Beat it.
The digito de falau. Anyway, listen. No, I was speaking
But
Portuguese.
yeah, so back to that point though, yes,
He's better
fatigue
for
of Wilder
boxing,
at this point. But yeah, it was Kevin Lowe. I heard that he got out of boxing for that. He was so embarrassed by that. It's just, if you're a casual, listen, they were joking and laughing about it on ESPN, like chuckling about it. It's just, you know what I mean? We love the sport, so we're going to endure all its embarrassments and its stupidity. But if you step back and just look at it, it's like, God damn, dude. And then you go to the same place and then you're still not off it. You're still talking about how you were cheated.
Listen, the thing about Wilder is we've had a wild ride following the Deontay Wilder saga, dating all the way back to at least 2017 when he started his shenanigans. And the interesting thing about Wilder is, again, I don't understand who is still a fan of this guy after the way he embarrassed himself just with the glove gate alone. The fact that he entertained these psychotic theories from these black fanatics, and the people still like him. But it goes back all the way back to him assaulting people in hotel rooms. And I hear, rumor is he was assaulting a tranny in a hotel room. Then he goes, remember when he went after Brazil's family? Because he thinks Brazil said something. Right. And then when he said multiple times that he wanted to murder somebody. So it just goes on.
5 times.
I don't know. 5 times. There you go. I don't understand who in the right mind could be a fan of this guy. And let me tell you something else. I don't even think he's that entertaining a fighter in the ring. Yes, he knocks people out, but the prelude to the actual knockouts are boring. Look at the Washington fight. Look at the fucking when he fought that guy from Poland. What was his name again?
Suwaki?
No, that's not him. Anyway, I'm forgetting the name. But yeah, some of his wins.
Oh, Spilka.
Spilka, thank you. Yeah, and then the Ortiz, the second fight, he was losing almost every round. I think some of the judges gave him 2 rounds. He was losing every fucking round. And then he bails himself out with a Hail Mary shot. This guy is just not that entertaining.
I agree 100%.
And by the way, shout out to Kenshiro for his
all.
contribution with the super chat. He says, I bet Marshall versus Shield does more than Wilder. Well, maybe it is going to be on ESPN, I believe, the Marshall versus Shields fight. So that should do more view, even though it's
I'm far more interested in that. Absolutely. I'm not even joking. There's intrigue there at least, right? You know,
I mean, at least it's fresh blood. Yeah.
I'm curious. Did they post his pay yet? That's what I'm curious about. What is he actually pulling down for this fight, percentage or whatnot? I know it's all back end money, probably, but which isn't going to be there. This thing isn't going to sell.
I know.
It's not going to sell. I mean, they'll probably report it at 300,000, 275. We should do a fucking poll now. Who's the closest?
Butcher, if you can set that up, and that'd be fantastic. Shout out to Slugger Sam.
I say because he's heavyweight, they have to say at least between 250 and 275.
250 and 275. I'm gonna go with that.
Yeah, between that, they'll say.
I agree.
What's that?
I said I agree. Shout out to Slugger Sam for his contribution with the super chat. He says AJ ruining the heavyweight division. Usyk and Fury are top. Well, I don't know about AJ ruining that heavyweight division, but this whole drama that's been unfolding, it certainly is something that most fans would rather see resolved sooner rather than later. May I also say something here about Gonzalo? Are you there? Hear a lot of background noise.
Yeah, how's it going, Mr. Oh, sorry.
Good, man. No, that's okay, man. Well, I was going to ask you before we move on to the other side of the Wilder Helenius thing. How do you see that fight going? Do you think Helenius is going to be able to give him a good fight?
I mean, he's a tall dude himself. He can reach out and touch Wilder from afar, man. He's like 6'6". But fortunately, he's not as fast. If we're talking about 1-2s straight down the pipe, Wilder gets there quicker. And I think they know this because that's an sparring partner. Why would they take it, you know? There was many fights. Well, I mean, he beat the Michelin man, so he earned an opportunity. Well, against who? Well, Wilder lost. He's coming off of losses. So I don't know, man. I think Wilder wins because they know this.
I mean, that's the other thing, though. If Helenius is smart, he'll at least try to fight the way he's supposed to. Because again, like Gonzalo said, they were sparring partners. He knows how Wilder fights. He must have seen the Fury fights. He must know, okay, listen, this guy, you back him up and you get him leaning back. He's not going to hurt me. He's only going to be able to hurt Helenius if he lets Wilder plant his feet, wait forward, and unloads on that right hand. Otherwise, there's not much Wilder can do when he's leaning back. But that's the other thing. So let's get back to this, because Jimmy also touched on this. When it comes to Deontay Wilder, one of the other things we keep hearing is how, well, he's willing to fight everybody. That's not true, because he admitted himself when he was going back and forth against Fury, hey, I could have taken the Joshua fight, but I gave up that money to fight you again. So he's admitting he said no to that fight, and yet people on Twitter are still going on and on about how Joshua avoided him. In fact, hold on a second, he actually repeated that, Wilder himself repeated that this week. Hold on, let me, just for people don't think I'm lying here. This is, it says, Deontay Wilder attacks Anthony Joshua fight, and he says, we already got something going on. They can say their story, he said, talking about Joshua. They can say their story and tell people all they want. He's a big manipulator. I know the true facts, and he knows the true facts and the reasonings of certain things. Very vague. Me and Joshua could have fought years ago. I could have been unified champ years ago. Now, do you think he really believes that, and that's the BS his handlers are feeding him, or do you think he actually said no to the fight? Because that's what he told Fury. He said, I rejected the Joshua fight to fight you.
He doesn't believe that, because he was in on the meetings with Shelly Finkel, and when they didn't even let him talk, when like Lou DiBella was fired and stuff, it's just, he knows exactly what happened, because Shelly Finkel's come out now and said, yes, we never entertained the Joshua fight at the time because we had other things going on. But and let's not, and another thing too, not just Joshua, let's go all the way back to like 2015. Right before he fought Stavern, he was the #1 ranked WBC heavyweight title. All right. Stavern had the belt. Klitschko had the rest. So we're going to have the unification, the heavyweight unification title, right? First one of the 4-belt era.
Right.
Wilder, they needed him because he was at the time Stavern's mandatory, and it was mandated in order for that unification fight to take place. Wilder would have had to take walkaway money, along with, I believe, $1 million, which was half of what Stavern was getting for the fight. They told him they were going to have it in writing from both promotions or representatives that whoever won, he got first shot. Right? Klitschko would have already said in the beginning. So his deal. He got to get $1 million, got the shot, and had been a unification champion. He asked for $8 million to step aside. That was so. Of course, so basically said, without saying no, he said no. I want the Stavern fight because I don't want to fight Klitschko. After the fight, now mind you, he ran his mouth a lot. Oh, I want Klitschko on social media up to that. After he beats Stavern, silence. This is what come out of his mouth of his boy there. Deontay Wilder is still very much a work in progress. There's no need to rush into big fights against the best in the division. He still needs time to grow and groom his skills. Look, Wilder's a baby winning the title. It's the first title fight. There'll be time for unification. There'll be time for those things. It could be a fight Povetkin and Rushka for $10 million. It's not the right thing yet. Give him a couple of fights. Maybe bring something back to Alabama. Let him develop. Like any other athlete, they don't take who's a great college prospect and throw him right in. And this kid is a great prospect. Mind you, 33 professional fights with the WBC title. That's what his manager's hand was saying about him. They swerved that Klitschko fight like fucking child support payments. They wanted nothing to do with that shit.
I gotta tell you that I don't mind that them circumventing the Klitschko fight, because that would have been a surefire loss. I don't blame him. At that time,
but they knew that. But here's the thing, dude. It's his fans on Twitter. He tried to make the fight. He tried to make because if you don't constantly scream it from the mountaintops, like if you don't, you gotta yell the truth louder than their lies, or it just overwhelms you. It actually becomes, revisionism, historic revisionism, whatever it's called, and it becomes fact. You repeat the lie enough, then the new kids coming in on the boxing, they're repeating it. And it's the same clowns who've been schooled, and they keep doing it, and they keep saying it, because they know, fuck it, because they don't really care about the sport. It's the perception of who's winning. So to them, they'd rather just win the Twitter war than really give a fuck with Wilder, a guy they're not going to buy the fight anyways. I'm done.
That's an excellent point, Jimmy, because I go back to the whole thing about how they keep saying till this day that he didn't avoid Joshua. Joshua avoided him. He wanted to make the fight. They still say that. So I remember a conversation, I forget if it was on Twitter or somewhere else, where people pointed out Deontay Wilder's own words, where he told Fury, I could have fought Joshua, but I chose to fight you because I promised I was going to fight you. So then the black fanatics go, oh, well, see, there you go. He's a man of his word. That's why he didn't fight Joshua. But that's not what they were arguing. In other words, the argument is not whether Wilder's a man of his word. The argument is who avoided whom. And Wilder's the one, he's saying it himself, he avoided Joshua. And yet, but you see how they, just instead of trying to admit, all right, you're right, he did avoid him, then they got to swerve to something else, change the goalpost. No, well, he's a man of his words. That's not what we're arguing. We're not arguing whether he's a man of his word. I mean, it's insanity what goes on Twitter and on this community.
They dropped the $50 million offer. Don't forget that.
Right.
Bullshit. 15, like no promoter what they're waiting spit would even entertain that. Okay, we have $50 million. You have 24 hours to say yes or no. And so Hearn says, well, of course, that's great. We'll do this, but I want to see proof of funds. Oh, you don't trust us? And remember, I don't know if you guys ever saw the video. Ness cornered him the next day after a fight, I think at the Barclays he got schooled, man. Eddie made him sound like an idiot because he was saying, well, and he actually said, that's the point I wanted to get. He just wanted to get to the point where Hearn says he had no reason to believe Heyman was lying. And that was exactly, Ness goes, well, that was the point I wanted to get. Like, I'm here to defend Al's honor. Like, get the fuck out of here. It was Finkel. They wouldn't secure and see what it is Hearn knows they were using Joshua's name. They couldn't actually get their hands on that cash until that fight was signed. See, so he needed, you got 24 hours, get it signed. Then he has a signed contract. He goes to investors. And Finkel knows the investors. I mean, he's done big concerts. That's his actual claim to fame, concert tours. But then he could have went to people and said, "Boof, Joshua. Oh, Jesus, people wouldn't, this fucker's going to make money." But Hearn was like, no, he knew the game was being played. Well, if you're going to obviously make this fight off my guy's name, I want to see the particulars. Where the money coming from? Show me that the funds are secured, and they couldn't. So
that's right.
It's all bullshit, dude.
Yeah, it's all. Listen, maybe he didn't avoid Joshua, meaning maybe he was willing to fight Joshua, perhaps. But we know for a fact, someone within his team, Finkel or whatever, they didn't want the Joshua fight. Now let's stop shitting on Wilder's past and let's start shitting on his future, because he claims he wants all that smoke. He claims he wants Usyk. He claims he wants Joshua, the fight that could have been. But I think we all know would it be safe to say that if he does win this Saturday, none of those fights are going to happen, and instead he's going to fight Andy Luiz? Is that the most likely scenario?
Of course. He's not going to, they don't cross promote. He's not. All right, let me ask you guys. Do you think Al Heyman's going to let him go fight on DAZN?
No.
There we go. And fucking Hearn is definitely not going to give his guy up to PBC. Mm-hmm. Those fucking vultures. I mean, I wouldn't even want that fucking stain of that promotion on my fighter's fucking name.
But listen, let's be fair though. Ruiz fight is not the worst thing in the world. I'm just saying, in terms of the bigger fight,
for 74, 99 plus tax.
No. But you understand what I'm saying though, that in terms of quality,
I'd watch it if it was free.
I mean, they can make the argument. Look, Joshua Wilder, okay, yeah, charge me $75 for that. But against Luis, that should be a that's like an old school HBO championship night. Oh, by the way, speaking of HBO, you know when you mentioned that, Jimmy, about how Shelley Finkel referred to him as a prospect? That's what HBO used to do when they were trying to dick ride Jermaine Taylor. The kid is still here. The kid is this, the kid that. And then at some point, I think it was Larry Merchant said, well, listen, the kid is 27. Like, let's stop calling him a kid. And it's true. But I love fucking Wilder too. I mean, it's the go-to euphemism to try to keep this guy, to set the bar low, in other words, lower the bar.
33 pro fights. Think about how many guys what they've done by 33 pro fights. Mm-hmm. And you know what I mean? And again, I believe I might be wrong. It might be higher, not lower. So this should shock the system. His combined average world ranking of his opponents prior to becoming a titleist was 167. So out of 30 fights, or 32 fights, imagine how many guys to average it out at 167 had to be 300, 400th ranked heavyweight in the world. I mean, they were digging up dudes who died 2 weeks earlier, but just had enough fucking, snap left in their muscles that they could throw a fucking boxing trunks on them. You know what I mean? Let's be honest.
Yeah, still a little lividity in there. Hey, by the way, shout out to It Was All a Dream for his contribution. Actually, he upped the membership program. So shout out to It Was All a Dream, who says, big up Mr. BDA from Dubai. Oh, you're really at Dubai? Right now, in Dubai? That's interesting. I didn't know he was from Dubai. So he's probably going to try to catch the... in Dubai, is that the Abu Dhabi or is that different? I don't know my Middle Eastern, Arabian geography.
Dubai is different.
Different, okay. So I thought he was going to be able to get it. Well, he might not be that far away from the Gilberto Ramirez Bivol fight, which is going to be in Abu Dhabi. A shout out to Plutonium Loach for his contribution with the Super Chat. He says the bronze section 8 bomber is mega boring. Oh, come on. The bronze section 8 bomber is mega boring. I'd rather watch 2 bums fight over a sandwich. Well, shout out to Plutonium Loach. He's got away with words. I got to tell you. Very vicious when he wants to be. But yeah, listen. Okay, you're right, man. This fucking fight pay-per-view. Come on. It's ridiculous. And I do wonder how much fans are going to take from this, or how much more of this they're going to take from the PBC. But that being said, though, I was thinking about that last night. I was thinking, well, if Wilder loses, we're going to lose a lot of that segment, that psychotic segment of the PBC. But we do have Jared Anderson in the mix here, and he's really trying to appeal to that segment of the population. I mean, he comes out dressed as a pimp, then he comes out dressed as a prisoner. I hear next, inside scoop here for you guys, I heard next he's going to come into the ring in a red mini. I don't know if we're back, by the way. I think we got cut off there for a minute. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? All right, sorry about that, fellas. I can hear you. All right, so thank you, man. Yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, I mean, listen, they still, what I was saying is they still got Jared Anderson. Is that the last thing you heard me say?
Problem is he's with Bob Arum.
No, but is that the last thing you heard me say before I got cut off?
The last thing I heard you said was red minivan. That was the last words.
Well, okay. Well, listen, I'm not going to repeat what I said about that. But what I'm saying is Jared Anderson is a guy that can still fester a lot of support from that segment of the community, and therefore still give us a lot of entertainment here in the community.
They have a hard time they have a hard time because of Bob. I mean, think about it. These are the same people who have propped up Wilder and pushed that childlike conspiracy theory. Mm-hmm. Are the same people who hate on Crawford. And the only reason why they hate on Crawford and propped up Spence is because he's with Al. And, he's he died for our sins. So he's the savior. So, I mean, it is what it is. I actually just saw that tweet. It's insane. Him and they's got him as Jesus Christ on the cross.
Well, listen.
Oh, my God.
Wilder is still also going after Usyk. And I'm interested to see because I still think the power is going to be there against Helenius. I don't expect it to go missing all of a sudden. And as long as he can throw 10 quick 1-2s per fight, he's got a chance because he's just way faster than a lot of these lumbering heavyweights. So we'll see what happens with that. got to move on real quick to the undercard because we got Emmanuel Rodriguez taking on Gary Antonio Russell, one of the Russell brothers. That's an interesting little fight.
The new Sean Porter.
The new Sean Porter. He looks like
the way he bum rushes, dude. Head, he just like mugs them. I mean, like he comes to fight. He's not in boring fights. I mean, you can't say that kid doesn't fucking come to mix it up. He's got to get better with his controlling his space. He just crowds himself a lot and makes it too unnecessarily ugly. And which that's why a lot of his fights, he's had 2 fights end on cuts.
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, but it's gonna be a nice little fight. But of course, the one that the guys that are being very vocal and vociferous is are Anthony Durrell and Caleb Plant. These guys are going after each other. Here's what still irks me about the super middleweight division. Anthony Durrell is considered number 3 in the super middleweight division by Ring Magazine. That's how thin this division is. Who did Anthony Durrell beat? He beat some Mexican dude in his last fight, and he struggled. He drew, right? He drew against Keyshawn Davis, I believe, who got beat up by Benavidez. And again, that's not a knock on Benavidez. Benavidez, that's what he does to guys like Kyron Davis. Guys who can't really crank that much, and they're not going to outbox him, they're not going to outwork him or outmuscle him. He just breaks him down. But that's the guy he drew against. And then he knocks out a Mexican with a 15-4 record. Some guy they just shipped from Mexico, and they try to market him as, well, he's Mexican, so he must be tough. Knocks him out. He's number 3 in the world. Can you believe that? Somebody please explain that one to me.
I mean, wasn't he on the verge of retiring just like 3 fights ago? It was supposed to be a swan song. I mean, Jesus Christ. Yeah, no, listen, Plant should beat him. He should actually beat him wide. He's got enough length, Durrell's a decent, schooled fighter, but I mean, there's definite dislike. I mean, it's the only fight I would have to say that has any intrigue. It's because they really don't like each other. But and Benavidez too. By the way, Sam Lukowitz came out. Maybe it was yesterday with the videos. He was on video saying that. You won't be seeing him this year. Probably February of next year. Yeah, February of next year. That'll be earlier. So Benavidez will have fought once in a year, in this calendar year, and it was against a 17-1 underdog. So yeah, those are not skills. It's not steel sharpening steel. We're witnesses fighters' skills erode right before our very eyes.
Jimmy, you always bring up steel sharpening steel. This is oxidation, as far as I'm concerned. And you know what? We should make we should make a list of all the PBC fighters that will have only fought once this year. Off the top of my head, Errol Spence, fucking Tank Davis, the Charlo brothers. Now you mentioned Benavidez. What the fuck is going on? Hey, Caleb Plant, who we're just talking about. Caleb Plant, yeah, exactly. He's the biggest fight of his career. You would expect him to continue the momentum, right? Or his promoters would try to continue the momentum of, okay, now people know who he is. Even though he lost, he did give Canelo a good fight. Hey, let's market something around him. No, they keep him off the shelf for a year, and then they bring him back against this old man. Somebody please explain that one to me, please.
Fight nobody was asking for. And back in April, or was it April this year? No, the year before, the fight didn't materialize with Benavidez. But why didn't he fight Benavidez this year? Why didn't he fight him there? You know what I mean? I mean, there's so many fights there to be made. Al's not a boxing guy. He doesn't give a shit about the boxing. In fact, I personally, in my opinion, I have nothing to back this up because of what happened to his brother Bobby. He hates the sport. And in his mind, I don't give a fuck about sport. I'm just going to make money off it. And if I can leave it in worse condition, because you can't explain to me somebody as intelligent as he is, and the man's brilliant. There's no denying that. I mean, he's got the credentials to prove that. And you can't tell me that he does not see that he's been a fucking failure. I mean, the PBC was a disaster. He's being sued for the money. None of his plans, they all fell through. I mean, he's putting crap on pay-per-view, and his whole shtick was, I'm bringing boxing back free. You know what I mean? They went from free, the most expensive boxing promotion in the history of the sport, to follow.
Wait. And you said something about whose brother is Bobby? What did you say?
Bobby Heyman.
What happened to him?
Al Heyman. He got just wasn't treated well, like a lot of guys in the Cleveland and, any blue collar area. If boxing can be an ugly sport, man, there's a lot of decent fighters who just don't get representation, and they end up getting fed to the wolves. I don't know too much of his backstory, but I know that things didn't end well for him. He took some big beatings.
Hey, Bubba.
And, so I guess, yeah. So for me, and just the way he moves just the lack of not even respecting the sport enough to throw an interview to Max Kellerman, to somebody at that level. You know what I mean? So he doesn't have to mess with YouTubers in his mind. But the fact that he doesn't even do that, I'm not talking to any of you motherfuckers. It's like, it's just so crazy. The same people who prop him up will sit there and fucking hang on every one of Bob's words. Liar, he's a liar. You know what I mean? Like, at least he thinks enough to, at least to offer up a lie. If that's what you want to call it. But so, yeah, I just think of the way he moves, he hates the sport, and he's here to make money, and he doesn't give a shit about, and he's shown over time and time again to give his allegiance to networks over his fighters' financial well-being. He's done it time and time again.
Bobby, what happened to Bobby, man? I wanna find out more about this Bobby Heyman. I did not know that, Jimmy. Since when did you know about that? That he had a brother who was a boxer.
Oh, I've known that the whole time. I don't try to give everything all away, man. I gotta hold some stuff back.
Is this him? Hey,
I'm sure I've mentioned it, but I just talk so fucking fast I probably has zoomed it right by everybody.
Could this be him?
Yeah, Bobby.
Could this be Jimmy? Could this be him, Bobby
Heyman?
Black and
white picture with black and white picture with gray hair. I mean, kind of an
Gray hair.
that's him, Bobby Heyman.
He kind of does look like his brother a little bit. Huh?
He looks like him too.
And look at that. He fought Sugar Ray Leonard. No kidding. Hey, he fought another guy named Bobby, by the way. The Battle of the Bobbies. Yeah. But listen, anyway.
I mean, the point is, you don't have me on here because you don't have me on here for my beautiful singing voice, bro.
Oh, come on. That's not true. But listen, the point is this. Bobby Heyman, got to do an entire episode just on him. The legendary Bobby Heyman. But, I mean, like this, Caleb Plant, going back to Caleb Plant versus Dirrell a little bit. Dirrell says, I'm going to go for it. I have to go for it. He's too slow at this point, I think. But one thing you got to give Dirrell credit for, he can crack a little bit. And let's not forget that Caleb Plant has scrotum skin. I mean, you touch him up this time. You touch him up once, and you would have thought he would have been at the Waukesha parade. This guy, he breaks apart his face. It's easy to mark him up, cut him up. I think Dirrell has a good chance if he goes for it and just tries to bust this guy up and maybe try to force a stoppage of some kind. But I don't expect it. Jimmy, what do you think?
I can't get past what you said. You would have thought he was at the Waukesha parade, right? You would think by the look of his face he was fucking carpooling with Errol.
Ah, come on! No, wait a minute. I was gonna say it looked like he was in a date with Chris Brown, but that was too dated. That's from fucking 13 years ago. So,
but yeah, no, he has to. I mean, dude was completely irrelevant, and he's like being forced. Like his career is getting like life being forced into him. He's being shoved down our throats because he hasn't done nothing for anybody to warrant anybody to want to see him. So he knows if the numbers are bad, I mean, that's where really the bottom line. If it affects his bottom line, that's where Heyman won't be quick to use him. But his Heyman situation, he has all these fighters. He only has a handful of dates. So he has to, use them. And now we're getting like how it is. Like you said, Thurman, when's the last time he's fought? Oh, yeah, he fought Barrios, but once a year, guys, now. Once a year. It's nuts. And yeah, Dirrell sucks. Sorry, but he's a has-been who never really was.
Yeah, and I'm still.
But his team throws some good sucker punches, though, man.
Oh,
his family.
Yeah, his uncle. And then they blame schizophrenia. No, what do they blame for? Dementia or something. But hey, another trainer or another boxer who's got a bunch of entourage members who assault people. That's Clarissa Shields, who's going to be fighting this Saturday as well. But put that fight aside. Dirrell versus Caleb Plant. I'm interested to see what happens with Caleb Plant. I still can't get past the fact that the Benavides is only going to have fought once. I'm telling you, based on this, him fighting once against a shot David Lemieux, I don't want to hear Benavides say, I won that Canelo fight. After what? After fighting once this year against a shot David Lemieux? No, you don't deserve that fight. I'm sorry. He's a very good fighter. Don't get me wrong. In fact, I'm one of the few people that believes, at least in this panel, that Lemieux actually, that Benavidez actually might just pull it off. Worst case scenario.
Me too.
Oh, there you go. Well, worst case scenario, he gives him a hell of a fight to Canelo, but he hasn't fought anybody. So there's still a lot of unanswered questions, and the fact that he doesn't deserve the fight because he hasn't beaten anybody or not. So I'm sorry, man, but he's got to get away from the PBC, Lukowicz, whatever. Moving on to the...
signed with him, though.
I know, man. Fuck. Anyway, listen, moving on to the...
I was sticking up for him all the time, right? And then once I heard he re-signed, that was it for me. I'm like, okay, dude, you had an opportunity to really blow away, and you didn't. Fuck that. I mean, anyways, moving on.
Yeah, moving on. Like the other fight, if you thought there was a little interest for Durrell versus Plant, let's talk about Haney versus Kambosos too. I mean, what can we say about this fight? It's happening, the rematch. But what can we expect from it?
So you got to fight different game plan for sure. For sure, you can't box Haney like he tried. This is what Kambosos was doing. He was just basically throwing an overhand right, like he was doing against Teofimo, and he was throwing a left hook. Now, what Haney did, he just basically stepped back and took the distance from those two punches, and Kambosos was left in like no man's land outside of Haney's wheelhouse. So I mean, with the feet situation, this is what Kambosos has to do, in my opinion. He has to keep bounding forward and stick to the other guy, like mirror his footwork and pressure. Then you're gonna take some shots. I mean, because the other dude's quick, Haney, but he's not necessarily a power puncher, or is he? Because why are people holding back like Linares and not like really letting their hands go? Yeah, Linares was old. Okay, but you're young, man. You're young. You were undefeated. You lost his first fight against Haney. It's happening again in your home country. So do that. Get on that dude's chest and take some fucking fire in order to land your shots, inside that dude's wheelhouse. To stick to him like glue. You know what? Jojo Diaz had the right intentions, but really Jojo Diaz was never a power puncher. He tried to be a Canelo Alvarez way too much. Just an example, but that was the right game plan though. Kind of do the same, and if you can hurt that guy more than Jojo Diaz did, you're gonna sneak your punches in. The dude's like not unhittable; he's hittable.
Well, everything you said makes sense, Gonzalo. The problem with Kambosos is, and this is why I pick Haney in the first fight, is because Kambosos essentially is a counterpuncher. He tries to do the shoulder roll, he drops his left hand. If you're gonna come forward, you gotta pick those hands up. Like you said, the aforementioned Jojo Diaz came in with a tight guard and said, let me pressure you. Fucking Kambosos doesn't do that. So, it's, when people say everything you said is correct, Gonzalo, that's for sure. I don't think he can do it.
Well, he as long as he doesn't think he's Leonidas, right? I mean, that was the whole spotting thing. Right? The beating Lopez went to his head. Finish what you were saying, Gonzalo?
No, that's just one of those things that the corner, his father, not so much instilled, because I'm talking about the Durrell. You can't teach the old dog new tricks. No, but this guy, no. But what I'm saying, if the guy's already formed, he boxes the way he does. He's a counter puncher. You can't really instill any things in him. The game plan's gotta be, dude, don't try to go punch for punch with Haney as far as like counter for counter, because when that dude steps back, your distance is not there no more. And to always continue trying to win those battles, or like these ones and twos, man, you're gonna fucking lose the fight. So don't do that. Don't keep doing that expecting new results. Change up your fucking game plan. Right, and you might have some success of winning. If not, you're gonna go with your hands empty again in your fucking country, and you're gonna lose a lot of the little fans you got left in your country. So,
hey, does anyone know if this fight is going to be in a smaller venue or the same venue?
Oh, I'm sure it's gonna. Well, it might be in the same venue because if it's on the West Coast, it's limited. They don't have probably a ton of them that hold boxing. But I would imagine just on Haney's side, his camp, I guarantee you a sentence that was repeated many times over there: don't get complacent, don't get cocky, overconfident. That can really hurt a fighter. I mean, look at Teofimo Lopez. going against Kambosos. He was overconfident. And then you had Kambosos going into the last fight, literally thinking he was this fucking power puncher, and he was going to jump in with this fucking, fucking left hook and just put him away. Now he's been, he's had a big dose of humility. So if there isn't anybody who should just have his head down and work and really pay attention to the film, and on the other side, you have to make sure your boy doesn't get fucking overconfident. And did he really put in the time in the gym? You want to make sure. I'm sure his father and his people stayed on him. Plus, Haney definitely trains hard. So, but that's the thing. When you get a guy who thoroughly beats somebody, it's sometimes hard to get that same. Because I'm sure going into that fight, this was his biggest fight, biggest stage. It's a lot of butterflies when you're training and just getting close to the fight. Now he's walking in like I got this in the bag. It's hard not to feel that way. So that's part of your team's, to keep that fire going in your belly.
Exactly, yeah. Because, how motivated can you get for a fight that you won the last time just with the jab? Jab and clinching. So, yeah, man, he's got to watch out, though, because Kambosos, one thing you give him credit for, though, is tenacious. He's a tenacious fella. He's got that Spartan spirit in there. And so he's got to watch out for that. That being said, though, Haney, they're talking about how he's going to move up to 140 now. The rumor that Rick Glaser started a couple of months ago is actually, apparently, it's going to be true. He's going to be moving up. And if it's true, we sort of called it a couple of months ago too, when we said, well, not just us, obviously, a lot of other people said this guy looks fucking huge for lightweight. So sometimes we'll see what happens.
Well, I didn't call it for that. I didn't say it for that. I think I said it once. I said because I don't think put it this way, because Lomachenko isn't old enough yet. Bottom line.
Interesting. Very interesting. Very interesting.
Bottom line. What was the last thing Bob Arum had to say about, speaking of Lomachenko and Haney? That's the fight I want to make. After this Kambosos fight, I'm making that fight. I'm going to go to 140 after all the shit you and your fans said about Lomachenko. The white Jesus shit that come out of that fucking knucklehead father of yours mouth. And now here's your opportunity. Lomachenko, you're not going to have to, it's not going to be any negotiation problems with him. Give him the time and the date, and he'll be there. And you're going to run to 140? Duck.
They never wanted, I'm pretty convinced now that they never, if he does move up, we'll see what happens. But if he moves up, I think it's pretty clear.
My thing, dude, too, his father carried on the lies. His father perpetuated lies. He never actually said, he co-signed it when he's on there at the fucking with Trill and Cece, and he's talking about, they're saying, he came home now. How come when he came home and now he's fighting this guy instead of Haney, knowing Haney's was signed was informed within days that he was going to enact a rematch clause, and they know the timetable. There was no time in history that they could have fought once he got that belt. So that's an established fact. So all that shit, not only just running them up, but saying and implying that Lomachenko ducked him, and to see here's your opportunity, big guy. See what you got, and you're gonna run to 140. Fuck out of here.
Yeah, it's interesting. That's what I'm saying, though. So first of all, they're gonna completely forget that. Just like they're trying to forget that the fact that Wilder himself said he rejected the Joshua fight to take on Fury again. So, or the first time, I forget which one. So yeah, they're gonna forget about that. So it just goes to show you how much smoke and mirrors these guys love to use. That they used to use a lot of subterfuge and a lot of hallucinations. Let's just call it what they are, man.
It's about the narrative, not the victory.
Exactly. They will never admit that they were wrong. And Haney didn't. Well, let's see what happens, because it's a rumor that he's going to move up. Maybe he does take on Lomachenko. You never know. But and here's the other thing that I disliked about Haney. When he had that belt, right, the email belt that they mailed to him, he kept saying, and his fans kept saying as well, he's the champ. Loma, if he wants to undispute, he's got to fight Haney. Then when Haney gets the belts, he makes fun of Gervonta Davis for having one of those McDonald's belts. And his fans go, oh, yeah, that's right. Haney's the real champ. But wait a minute. You were telling us that anyone that had a belt before is a champ. Now all of a sudden, Tank Davis' belt doesn't matter, but your email belt mattered? It's just, they contradict themselves so bad.
And not only, we had one fan who kept calling up saying, not only did he do that, he specifically gave the belt up to duck him. Oh, this way I don't have to fight him. You know what I mean? And then we had one guy say, no, that belt meant more. That belt, carried more weight. Lomachenko, yeah, give me a junior belt. Give it to the kid who hasn't fought anybody yet. It's just, on its face, it doesn't make sense. So the fact that you have people repeating.
Your boy Suleiman can't go. What's up, Jimmy the Jim? Jimmy the Jim.
What's going on, brother, man?
The Suleiman can't go blameless in that whole thing either. He's just that's just like, it's just disruptive. Just the whole arbitrary way that he created the belt and then tried to explain it, then change the rules, and then you can't lose it. Then he took it off of Lomachenko and put it on T.O. You know, it's half his fucking fault for just blatantly talking out of both sides of his mouth. You know, I must say
that's true too. I mean, listen, there was a lot of hijinks with those belts, and that's why I can't stop saying it. I don't pay attention to these belts anymore because they're just corrupt. They do what they want, and they expect everyone to follow suit. But yeah, man, hey, listen, if Haney moves up to 140, it's on him that the Loma fight never happened. All right, it's on the record.
Lomachenko go up there and fight him, Mr. BDA. I don't think it's gonna make a difference in the fight.
That would be a mistake, though, man, because Haney would be fresh and at 140, bigger, not having to kill. Was that?
What power? Like 140 type power? No, he's got
just energy.
130. He's got 130 type power. He's got 130 type power. And if anything, it's going to make him. I mean, I don't know what slow. It could putting on weight. I mean, I'm not saying Lomachenko is going to move up in terms of his actual weight, but he just simply won't cut that much weight. It'll save him a cut, and he'll still beat him with his feet. He'll still. It might be a UD instead of a. He might not stop him. He'll have some more punch resistance. Haney will at 140, but that won't make a difference in the fight. And Lomachenko go up there and do it.
Well, the reason why I don't think what happened, it's only because, not my opinion, it's my opinion of these facts. His father has clearly had such an impact in not only in his fight, but, the direction his career has gone. And, I guess in that camp amongst the other guys he works with, his word is, that's where it ends. And he specifically said, if my son goes to 140, I'll have nothing to do with it. Whoa. He knows, and I agree with, he thinks, I hear what you're saying. He has the ability, the footwork. I don't think it would make that much of a difference in 140 other than he could be a little more sluggish, whereas it would definitely help Haney, not to have to cut that extra weight. But that's the thing. If you want to fuck around the smaller weights, that's the trade-off. You want to stay down here and fight little guys that big? There's a trade-off. You're not going to have that freshness in the last 4 rounds. You're always doing that trade-off, But, so his old man was straight up like Nick on the 140. He knows his son should have been 126, 130 tops.
Where did he say that, Jimmy? You remember?
Was it Steve who said it, or was it Aegis? It was on like a video clip. It was just like, then the father said no way. And it was talking to Ukraine. It was, some Ukrainian girl was interviewing him.
It's a Ukrainian girl.
I'm inclined to agree with that, by the way. I agree with that line of thought. Like, it's just too much. Like, he's just, the frame is what it is. He's a 130 pounder. Let's just call it a 130 pounder. But see, I don't suggest campaigning at 140, because if you fight real 140 pounders, they got more punch resistance and they got more power.
But that would be the new thing. Oh, well, he's got to stay there. What is he doing? He's going to 135, talking to everybody. You know what I'm saying? And his father probably is of the mindset, no, you're not going to drag my son any farther up. It's because this is the game plan. Everybody's avoided him. A lot of people have avoided him. Bob has, it couldn't be any more clear. I'm making the Loma Haney fight after Kambosos. If they both get by their next guys, they'll fight next. And the fact that the rumors even come out, usually when there's smoke, there's fire. So something has been put out. Somebody put it out there. And if Rick Glacier reported on it, I know Rick catches a lot of fucking shit, a lot of grub on Twitter, but the dude does have connections and knows his shit. So if he said that,
he's very sharp. Yeah, very sharp.
Hey, listen, fellas, I'll be right back. I'll be right back. Can somebody read the super chat, please? I'll be right back.
Super chat. It says Haney gets KO at 140. Gets KO or KO'd? That's interesting.
Here's the thing. These guys start talking about 140 when Loma starts being brought up. Like, T.O. had to move up right after that fight. He couldn't make 135 anymore. Meanwhile, he made it 18 months later to fight Kambosos. Haney's been moving up forever. And I agree. He's got a big frame and all that. But honestly, and Lomachenko's not 140. He's not even 135 pounder. But I just think that, and again, I agree. So I can agree with his father and Aegis, and I can also say he should take he might should take the fight at 140. Here's why. He's not going to actually put on mass to where he's going to walk around at 150 and then cut down to 140. He's going to be the same Loma. It's going to be no change in his pace. Haney can make 135. I know it's a stretch. He's younger and he's got a big frame, so it's going to be a little harder. But he can make 135 tomorrow for the right price and for the right fight. Okay, he made it for 5 fights in a row over there on DAZN, no problems when he's fighting. When he's fighting nobodies. So Haney's not going to fucking gain 5 pounds. He's not going to gain all that weight overnight either. He's just he might gain a little bit, but he's not going to walk around 155 and then cut down. Loma's still his advantages are still gonna be there. Haney's gonna have a little bit more punch resistance, and he's gonna have no more power. So, but the thing, don't get it twisted. Yeah, but real quick, Gonzalo, don't get it twisted, Jimmy. Yeah. What you said is right. His purpose for Top Rank for signing him was to make the Loma fight. Like they said, they wanted pay-per-views. They couldn't get that at DAZN. He said it to me himself. I mean, Bill Haney, when he's making the rounds, he was on D. Jefferson's channel, and he's talking. He'll talk all you want, and he wants pay-per-views. Top Rank is going to give him the pay-per-views, and it's going to be Loma. If he doesn't want that fight, let's just say he just wants to obstruct things and be difficult about it, he'll just sit on the shelf. I mean, that's the fight to make. They're losing money with Kambosos.
The thing, though, Lomachenko's actual goal, his unfulfilled promise, really is to become undisputed. So it's not so much that I think that he's chasing Haney. He wants to become undisputed. He basically wants what Haney has, right? Because he hasn't fulfilled that. So if Haney decides not to fight Lomachenko and drops the belt, I think Lomachenko will do everything in his power to try to get those belts.
You can't make him. You can't make him make 135. You can't force him to fight at 135. So,
if Haney defends after he beats Kambosos, there you go. Make the fight.
I'm fighting at 140 now. Yeah, but if you were to drop the belts and say I'm not fighting at 135 anymore, it'd be just a blatant, it's just a bitch move. Would Lomachenko would he rather make that fight with Haney, even if it was at 138 or some kind of fucking catch weight, or would he rather go after whoever eliminators come up for those belts? No, he'd rather have Haney fight, and that's what Aram paid for. Exactly.
Aram gets what he wants. That's for sure. We'll see what happens there. Hey, fellas, I open up the phone lines, so if you want to call in, make sure to do that. If you're outside of North America, you can click on the StreamYard link that I put there. Now, let me say this before we move on to the phone calls. We also have Savannah Marshall versus Clarissa Shields. Fellas, pop open the sugar-free vanilla sodas, your low-sodium pretzels, and belt out a couple of show tunes during this fight. You'll have a ball. That's all I got to say about that fight. But
you bastard.
I'm kidding, man. I'm kidding. It's an intriguing fight. Why not? I'll watch it. I got ESPN, the Canadian version. They're going to show it there. I'll watch it. Why not? But listen, fucking boxing throughout the day. England, Australia, USA. Maybe some African cards too that we don't know about. You never know. They're going to be fighting with machetes out here. But listen, the point is this. We've got a whole bunch of everything for everybody. Let's get some official predictions, fellas. Wilder Helenius. Let's just make the rounds. What do you guys think? How does that end?
Wilder by stocking. Go, Gonzalo.
I'm going to say the same thing, too. I'm going to say Wilder KOs Helenius in the 4th round.
4th round? All right. I see Bucho's on mute.
Yeah, I think Helenius is going to look pretty good, but then he's going to get caught 7th or 8th round.
Interesting. Very interesting. All right. Well, I mean, that kind of
6th. I'll go 6th round. He went 4. Bucho went 8, so I'll do 6. Whatever.
All right. Yeah, I think everybody's on the same page with that one. And I suspect everyone's on the same page with the Haney Kambosos rematch as well, right?
Kambosos rematch? Not really. I don't know, man. Haney definitely outboxes Kambosos. But if you keep chasing that dude down, man, that Haney has always got that look of concern, like impending doom, like something's about to happen. He knows he doesn't really trust his chin. or maybe his inside fighting. I know he's got a good uppercut. But if you keep pressing that dude, man, I still don't have it. I'm not fully convinced of what type of chain Haney has. Maybe Haney and his father don't even know that themselves.
That's a good point.
They've never. I mean, they're good. They're good fighters. They keep rearranging the distance. They got good feet. They're fast. But you just gotta keep pressing that dude, and if you land, man, maybe you can hurt him. I'm just gonna say, Haney for now. It's an 8-4 type of fight, unanimous decision, but with the caveat that if Kambosos keeps coming forward, he might be able to drop Haney a couple times.
Whoa!
And there you go. It's in Australia.
Hey, listen. If we're talking about Haney not being able to make weight or whatever, you never know. Listen, he's got Kambosos has to go for
last
it.
Time. Shit.
What was that?
Kambosos missed weight last time. Said Kambosos missed weight last time.
That was the Art of War, man. Come on.
Yeah, it's all on the plan. It's all he's pointing at his temple.
He was reading too much QAnon. He was reading too much QAnon. Trust the plan, and that's what ended up happening.
All part of the plan.
But we'll see what happens, man. Nobody's really all that excited about that fight at all. Hey, let me go to a phone call real quick here. Let's go to 631 here. Don't forget to hit the like, fellas. Hit the like. 631. You're on the air. 631. What's on your mind?
Oh, you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, man. What's up?
Hello? Oh, okay. Yeah, so with the whole thing, because I'm hearing you guys talking about, Haney potentially moving up to 140. Mm-hmm. Honestly, I would have said earlier that I don't really have an issue with him moving up to 140 because he's been making the 135-pound limit for a very long time. I don't even know if he's ever even been at 30 before. But honestly, I kind of take it all back on the sole fact that he's talked so much shit to Lomachenko over the years. You kind of can't even leave now without taking that fight. I feel like he's talked his way into a corner. I mean, him and his dad, because they've demanded that fight so much in every single day. Even when Loma was went to war or whatever, they were still kind of calling him a coward or something. So it's kind of crazy to me that if you've called out for this fight for this long, and then magically you're saying, my bad, I can't make the weight anymore for the one fight that I've been asking for since 2017. I don't know,
2019. He wasn't even ranked. Yeah, he wasn't even ranked in the top 10 until 2019. I think mid 2019. Okay, but you're right, dude. I just want to say real close, fast about what they said. They said, "What war?" They basically, said he wasn't even there. It was a fraud. So total disrespect.
Stolen valor. That's what they said it was. No, I don't know if they said that. But caller, anything else you want?
But I will say this though.
Yes.
I kind of want to say this. If he does go to 140, the only way I would be willing to maybe excuse him going to 40 instead of staying at 35 to fight Lomachenko is if immediately upon going up there, they line up a Teofimo Lopez or Regis Prograis type fight up there for him immediately. But besides that, I don't think I'd want to see that.
All right. Well, anything else you want to say before we move on?
Oh, yeah, I was just wondering, how much do you guys think that Wilder Helenius is going to sell on pay-per-view?
Well, Jimmy said 250. Is that what you said, Jimmy? Remind us a little bit. 250?
1.2 million, probably.
Okay, go on.
Between 250 and 275, they will announce. But I believe it does about $1.50.
Well, let me ask you this, Jimmy. You think they're going to pull off their old trick of having Dan Rayfield or somebody else say, well,
of course. It's not going to be done through Showtime. Espinosa's too busy talking about fucking Eddie Hearn.
I like how I asked you that. I like how I asked you that and you just laughed at me. Like when Patrick Bateman called Dorcius and asked for a reservation and they just laughed at him. That's essentially fucking Jimmy's answer to me. All right, well, listen, 631, thank you for your call. We'll catch you on the next one, all right, man?
All right.
All right, take it easy, man. All right, let me go to the StreamYard. We got Kenshiro calling in. Kenshiro, there?
Yeah, I'm here, my friend. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, man. What's
Kenshiro.
up?
How you doing, guys?
Kenshiro, buddy.
I mean, which box? I mean, Wilder, Helenius, I'll say Wilder will win. I'm not going to dispute that. I think Savannah Marshall will beat Shields. I think she has. I don't think Shields has fought somebody like Marshall in terms of power. and that Nat we're waiting for. I mean, Shields. If Shields wins, it'll be a boxing match, like Haney, hit and run. But otherwise, I think if Marshall catches her, then hopefully Marshall will win that then. And Kambosos, look, I'm not gonna lie. I think Haney's gonna do the same old thing. I think he's gonna embarrass himself. I think Jimmy's gonna ask for Kambosos' white card privilege after the match because that's how embarrassing Kambosos is gonna be.
What was that?
And when Kambosos is why, Jimmy's gonna say, "Get the fuck out of here, you ditzy motherfucker! Just hand that card back." So he's just gonna get.
He's gonna lose his white privilege. That's what he's saying.
I mean, unless he has a referee, especially if he has a referee like Ricky Hatton Floyd, where he doesn't want not that. Sorry, the exact opposite, where they push him away. If they're like that, tie up referees and that sort of stuff, and the referee's not saying nothing, then that's going to play into Devin Haney's hands. So I think if it's the same sort of, the referee doesn't say nothing for clinching, and Devin Haney's going to do the same tactics with the same result.
All right. And what about what did you already give us your prediction for the Wilder fight?
Yeah, I think Wilder's going to win. I mean, I know Helenius, I think he's lost only 3 fights out of 31, but has he really fought anybody of class that he's beaten? Not I can think of.
All right. Well, listen, I agree with you on that one, man. I'm still going to look forward to see it just because there's too many question marks surrounding Deontay Wilder. So I'll be watching. I'm not going to buy it, though. I'm not going to tell you how I'm going to watch it.
Costume?
I'm not going to
break the costume, don't you?
Oh, yeah, I want to see the costume, of course. Oh, my God. The costume we got for you.
You know a friend? You got a friend who knows somebody?
I got a couple of contacts. Let's just put it that way.
Oh, is it Black History Month again?
No, that's
no. In England, is Black History Month. That's why I didn't know if it's the same month as America. We have Black History Month. I didn't realize that's why.
Well,
I believe it's February in the United States.
There you go.
Okay, fair enough. And one last thing I want to say as well. I don't know if you guys, I just done a quick bit of research before I called into you guys. So the first stadium Kambosos fought in, the Marvel Stadium, holds I think 55,000 roughly. The stadium he's fighting now, the Rod Laver one, holds about 16,000. So that shows that they don't really hold that much hope in terms of selling that many tickets.
Hey, that's interesting.
They're not getting behind their boy this time.
Yeah, they learned their lesson, man.
Well,
they learned their lesson. See, that's a very interesting factoid right there, Kenshiro. I'm glad you dug that up, man. Because, I was thinking, this whole press conference was ridiculous. He can't trash talk anymore. And if he would have trash talked, they would have taken his white card. I would have taken his fucking white privilege card away, and I'm not even white. So, yeah, man, he's really between a rock and a hard place. So, Kenshiro, man, thank you for your call, man, and we'll catch you in the next one, all right, man?
Yeah. No, and one last thing. I think if Wilder does win and he fights Andy Ruiz, I think he's going to find out what some real Hispanic power is, and I think he's going to get another good beating coming up, though.
All right, well, listen, man.
Hey, Kenshiro, give us one more. Get the fuck out of here for the road.
Get the fuck out of here, you ditzy motherfucker.
That's what the fuck was that? All right, well, listen, Kenshiro, thank you for your call, man. Take it easy, man.
Which presser were you guys talking about? Which presser were you guys talking about? I missed it.
The Kambosos, the second Kambosos Haney press conference for the rematch.
Oh, I didn't catch it. Yeah.
I mean, he's sitting there and he can't say anything. Kambosos, that is. I mean, it's if he says anything, he's fucking insane. Let's go to another phone call here. Let's go to 914. 914, you're on the air. 914, what's on your mind?
What's up, guys? It's Fernando from New York.
Oh, Fernando, what's up?
Fernando.
So the way that Devin Haney's top-rank contract is structured, I forget exactly who put the article up, but if he moves up to 140, they have more options on it. So, but if he takes the fight with Lomachenko at 135, after he completes that fight, he's a free agent again. So I'm kind of leaning towards that he will take the Lomachenko fight. Plus, there was like an interview that he did an interview today, and he said he wants that fight today. I think it may have went on YouTube like an hour ago. It's with one of the ESPN guys.
All right. That's interesting right there, man. That's interesting. I mean, I don't know what happens, but what's your predictions? What are your predictions for the fights this Saturday?
Oh, man, it's, this time, I don't know if Kambosos is doing it for the money, because the way his contract was built up, like there's a minimum guarantee of sovereign money with the Australian government. So he's, I don't know if he's going to go in there with a winning mentality. Hopefully the referee allows for inside fighting so we get a more exciting fight. But, I don't know, man. It's like I'm watching it because we didn't have any boxing last week. So, we didn't have any significant boxing last week. So, I'll watch it and stuff. But, it's not. I wouldn't put money on the underdog here at all.
Well, speaking of that, official scorecard boxing, he did say something on the in the Discord. I believe that there's going to be who's fighting. There's Maloney's fighting on the undercard. Yeah, Andrew Maloney taking on Norbelito. No, excuse me. I think he said Jason Maloney is taking on a Thai guy, Nawafon Kaikanka. I don't know if he's Thai or Filipino, whatever. But he said, put some money. It would be interesting. Well, he didn't say put money, but he said you might consider putting money on Maloney's opponent because he feels like there's going to be an upset incoming. I don't know. I have never seen the other guy fight, so we'll see, man. But Fernando, anything else you want to say, man?
Yeah, so, I want to talk about the last week, the card that fell apart between Conor Benn and Chris Eubank. So one thing a lot of people are saying is, we don't mind because everybody's taking it. One thing that I don't like is when you're moving up in weight, like all this, like jumping up in weight. And Poli Malignaggi said it on, I forgot what platform he said it on. He said it on YouTube. But he's like, the television networks that broadcast boxing, they like to see all these weight jumps. So, I don't like when the fight fell apart, maybe he mistimed the cycle or whatever. But, bro, you should just handle your business at 147, right? You got David Avanesian. You have Jaron in his boots. You have Virgil. I'm pretty sure Virgil Ortiz will go to the United Kingdom to fight Conor Benn. It just seems like that. So all this stuff about jumping up in weight to get a money grab, like that's where you messed up. And that's why I don't feel bad for you. I'm not going to say, everybody's doing it, so it's okay. No, you wanted to jump up 2 weight classes. You didn't handle your business at 147. And I don't think he should be banned for life or anything. Like some people are saying, give him like a year, 2 years, whatever. But listen, handle your business at 147, man. You gotta handle your business at 147. Man up and handle your business at 147.
Fernando,
all this jumping.
Fernando, what do you think of Chris Eubank's old man, like talking like a psycho on that podcast? I'm coming for you. Like he was fucking Rambo. Like I'm coming for you. He's talking about the promoters that forced his son to fight at 155.
Like Rambo.
You guys remember when Chris Eubank Jr. signed to Al Heyman, and then the senior was like, Al Heyman, he's a messiah to box. He was like, he's an eccentric type of guy, man. He knows how to. He's like, before, like he's the type of guy. If he was in the social media era, he'd probably be where like a Jake Paul is, just off of how he handles himself. He's a caricature. He's like a living caricature. So I don't take too seriously what he says. He knows how to work the media when it comes to controversial stuff.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, that's true. I mean, they're both. Fucking Eubank Senior is definitely. He drives a fucking trailer truck. That's what he's been driving since the 2000s, I believe. I even heard the story of Chris Eubank Sr. that he was walking down the street over there in England. Then all of a sudden, one of these, bosses there from England with the two, they got a roof or they got 2 levels. Double decker, yeah. Some drunks were mooning him. They were sticking their ass out the window towards him. So he ran after the bus, entered the bus, fucking like Keanu Reeves in Speed, takes control of the bus, goes into the back. Tells those guys to remain seated. He says, I've contacted the police, and if you move, I will have to incapacitate you. He actually threatened, he effected a citizen's arrest. I don't even know if that's legal in England. That's how crazy this guy is. So don't put it past him to do something like that. I'm not kidding. Check that story out. It's true. I'm not making it up.
I'll incapacitate you.
If I had his pants down, he was driving to his house.
Did he say it with that monocle in his eye to make it even more menacing?
Yeah. You're superstitious, superstitious.
Yeah, but
they need to give him a Netflix TV series. Like he needs to be like a detective or something.
Yeah, it's not. That wouldn't be a bad idea. It's not Snatch. The thing about it is, somebody said about him driving a truck over there. You're saying a tractor trailer, but you mean like a semi truck? He drives it around town he commutes around in it. I don't understand that part.
Well, let me show you the fucking picture, man.
Yeah, because somebody brought it up last night on another show. They were like, "Yeah, he drives a proper fucking lorry, like a real like a big rig."
Look at this. Him and Coco.
Somebody asked him for a job, and he goes, "No, because he wants to. He just wants to."
He's an odd job. He's a publicity whore.
The hell would want to drive that for fun?
Oh, it's the fucking
in the city.
Oh, it's a real Peterbilt. It's like an old school Peterbilt.
Is he carrying a trailer, or is he just driving the rig?
I don't know, man. He thinks he's Clint Eastwood. Hey, maybe he's making deliveries though. You never know. Smoking the Bandit. I don't know. Well, listen, Fernando, we gotta go, man. Anything else you want to say before we move on?
That was all, guys. That was all.
All right. Take it easy, man. Thank you for calling in.
Take care.
You too, man. Yeah, that
you.
I'm coming, Murdoch. I'm coming for you. that was a good reference. No, but yeah, listen. Like, he was from the get-go. He was scared for his son. That's what he kept saying. I'm scared for my son. Now that the fight's not happening. By the way, fucking what's his name? Eubank Jr. did make weight. He still made weight on Saturday, and he looked awful. In one of the pictures I saw, then I saw that video, and he didn't look all that bad. But hey, he's a fucking.
But it's like the fact he's like these promoters did it to his son, right? Like son was fucking at home playing whatever they play in fucking England, and all of a sudden they kicked through his fucking front door like it was home invaded. Sign that motherfucker with a fucking Mossberg to his head. You know what I mean? Like, all right, 155, okay. No, he sought it out because he didn't want to fight anybody at his own weight. You know what I mean? You get mad at anybody, be mad at your son. Getting online threatening I'm coming for you. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, it was for the money. Chris Eubank Jr., let's face the fact, his best opponent, who is his best opponent? George Groves? And he lost that one. Now, Billy Joe Saunders, I would say, was his best opponent. That was way back.
And he lost that one too.
And he lost that one too, yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And even Conor Ben said so, or alluded to it, that, look, this guy, every time he got an opportunity to fight, wasn't he supposed to fight Golovkin, by the way, in 2016?
Yep. Oh, yeah. No, it was at the last minute. They lost the pen, and his father was behind that too. His father pulled him out of that too. And remember, Eddie Hearn went on video the next day. He was furious, and he put it all on the old man. His old man got involved and started playing games, and they didn't think I was serious. Because they said, "Yep, everything's fine." And at two separate, then he said, "Nope, we want to control the referee." What? And then I guess even he said, "Okay, whatever. You got a referee, the certain referee you want to, whatever." But then it was, we want to tell what media gets to sit around the ring. It was just these insane, and that's requests that Hearn was like, it was obviously saw the writing on the wall. So at the last second, when they kept sending him, contract back and forth and was all squared away, he went above and beyond. Now it wasn't about the money. It was all these, these aspects of the promotion he wanted to control. He didn't want his son fighting Triple G, because Triple G then would have knocked him the fuck out quickly.
That's a good point.
And his old man knew that.
Hey,
remember when James Toney was on that remote feed and he was all pissed off, and he said, when he's like, "Y'all fighting from England, y'all bums. I kick you in your mama's ass." And they looked at Chris Eubank Sr. and he just had his finger on his cheek and he was just like, "It's so cold." I don't know what to say.
Hey, you know what, Chris? Oh, sorry, Gonzalo, you were gonna say something?
I was just wondering what happens when a fight falls through. Then you invested time and money with your training camp with the people that you hire. What happens to that? Do you get some type of compensation? Probably not anything, right?
I guess didn't Wilder sue Povetkin? He won $5 million.
Is that right?
If I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure. I might be wrong. Check on it. If I remember correctly, it was a few years back, but I believe because of the training camp and blah blah blah. But yeah, no, it's true. It's not just you, dude, like that. Failing that test, blowing up that fight. Think about all the guys in the undercard put themselves through a camp.
Think about how many fights go on when they can just work that out. The thing about it is, like, usually you can get a replacement in there. The problem is that Eubank doesn't draw, and that's not a fight, and Ben's not a fight. It's the fact that it's the sons of two legends, I guess. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. It's exactly what it was.
The fight. Yeah, so it's ruined, yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at it here. This is from... Go ahead, Jimmy.
Oh, no, I was going to say, but that's exactly what the whole fight was. The guys on the undercard, yeah, they could go out and say, all right, we won't go on with them. We'll do some other card. But think about the money they're going to lose. They get a slice of the gate. Most guys, you know what I mean? Like they're just not going to make the same money. You get bigger money if you're in a bigger promotion. But exactly like you said, but the names, that was the whole thing. Yeah, it was Ben against Eubank again. Because didn't they fight back in the day? So it was the Suns, doing it again. But nope.
All right. Plutonium Loach is back at it again. He says, come on, man. He says, shout out to him for his contribution to the Super Chat. He says, Eubank Sr. looks like a Battletoad. I mean, come on, man. You're going to, he's comparing him to a Battletoad.
He actually looks like one of the he looks like a ninja turtle.
Maybe, that's more accurate. Yeah. That's more accurate. Yeah, Ninja Turtle. My goodness, that's freaky, man. But what was I going to say? Hey, listen, we've got the Wilder fight coming up, and I'm telling you, man, I want to know what type of costume he's going to come out with. Let's replay this classic, man, from prior to the Fury rubber match.
Who's here? I know, I'm so excited. Are you excited? You gotta see what he drove up in. You gotta see this car. Oh, really? It's crazy. Can you bring it in here? It looks like Picasso painted it and met Versace, and they did it in the ghetto, and the car is fabulous. Yes.
Is this where Deontay Wilder was trying to get pregnant? Is that why he was hanging around with these two fellas here?
Shit, he probably weirded them out. They probably thought Wilder was... This guy's a little weird.
But I heard did that puffer just say it's like Picasso met Versace and did it in the ghetto?
That's exactly what he said.
Holy shit.
Let me replay it here. It's gay privilege.
No, I'm so excited. Are you excited? You gotta see what he drove up in. You gotta see this car. Oh, really? It's crazy. Can you bring it in here? It looks like Picasso painted it and met Versace, and they did it in the ghetto, and the car is fabulous. Yes.
I hear they went to see Bros after this. That's what I like.
Behind the scenes. Fabulous.
I mean, listen. I'm curious to see if he's still hanging around with these fellas. I think those guys are bad luck, by the way, because they're the ones that designed the costume for the second fight too, right? So you gotta watch out, man. If I were Wilder,
I'd stay away from Mark Breland. Can you imagine Mark Breland sitting in that fucking back room in the locker room, waiting there? He's probably got the pads in his hand, trying to warm this guy up, and he's got to fucking wait while these two fruits put this costume on and turn the fucking LED lights on and get the battery. You just got to sit there in that little leather chair and just sit there and wait with the pads in his hand. Oh, fuck.
No, Dante, you have to put it on first naked. Trust me. We have to get the lines.
Come on.
Right.
Get the lights. Okay, we got to warm up Deontay. If he spiked that water, he probably drank the whole bottle himself and fucking tried to extend it right there.
Some poppers in there. Hey, listen. This guy, look at this.
I was just going to say, now that you mentioned that suit, brother, that's what that was about with Kevin Lowe. What it was, remember at first, he said it was the weight of the costume.
Oh,
and he got hammered on that, right? And all the LDBC started running fucking defense, right? Oh, no, he never said that. He never said that. It was Kevin Lowe who had it on. What is it? Kevin
Iole. Yeah.
Weirdo. But it was him who caught it on fucking tape, and he released it. And the fucking, the Wilder sycophants went at him with blades ablazing. So I think that was enough for him. He was like, I'm done with this garbage.
They don't like reality. That's one thing I'm starting to realize. They don't like it when somebody points out, even when their own hero says things, admits to certain wrongdoings, they still can't accept it. I got to tell you, doesn't this fella here on the left, he looks a little bit like the Van Halen guy. What's his name again? David Lee Roth. Doesn't he look like a little bit like David Lee Roth?
Oh, yeah. But no, dude, I think him and I said it the best. Wilder fans... When a Wilder fan is, like one of those guys who carrying on that bullshit lie, are confronted with facts, it's like when a vampire sees a cross.
Oh.
You know what I mean? They have to block it right away. No, they just react bad to facts. That's when the screaming starts, the conflations, whataboutisms. Yeah, what about Triple J?
Hey, check this out. I have exclusive picture here of them working with Wilder in the... Okay, now this must have been some sort of rehearsal. This wasn't in the dressing room. But it must have looked something like this. Like Pete said, Breland is waiting to warm up. He's got the mitts ready. Hey, listen, we got to get those, butterflies out of the way, blah, blah. And meanwhile, these people, oh my God, hold on, hold still there, Deontay. Oh, still the crown is gonna fall.
There you go. Oh,
yeah, come on, Pigeon.
Look at
come on,
you.
Pigeon. We gotta walk. We gotta tape his hands up, Pigeon. Get out of the way.
Come on, Pigeon. Come on. Don't throw Pigeon under the bus, man. Come on. But yeah, man. Yeah, but listen, that's
very similar to the Statue of Liberty. The costumes be looking like the Statue of Liberty. That's a woman, no? The Statue of Liberty.
No. It's a he. It's actually a hermaphrodite.
Oh,
if
really?
you look at it properly, yeah. I'm glad you brought that up. Because it's well, we might get into that second Renaissance. So a lot to get to about that fucking Statue of Liberty. But ultimately, you know what, guys? Look, I know a lot of people aren't expecting much from the Wilder fight, the Kambosos fight, even the Broads fighting. But I got my fingers crossed, and I'm hoping for some action because I'm looking at the schedule here, the fall schedule. Like I said in the last show, it's barren. Yeah, okay, we got Bivol Ramirez. We've got Cepeda versus Prograis. That just got announced. We do have Chocolatito versus Gallito Estrada. But that's really, I mean, there's not that much afterwards. November, December is barren. So I'm hoping, I need my fix, man. Need something that's going to sustain me till the end of 2022. What do you guys think? Can we get some action out of this weekend?
It's kind of a busy time for sports, BDA. I got to be honest with you. I mean, and between Christmas time, everybody's blowing their wad on Christmas stuff and traveling, and I mean, it's like the college football is on fucking fire right now, and then you're going to get in the World Series coming up here. I mean, it's tough to squeeze it in there, but Wilder Hellenius, Legendary Nights. Here he comes.
Yeah, I don't think that's ever going to.
I'm not even joking when I say I'm almost looking forward to the Clarissa Shields.
Stop it, man! Stop
fight.
it! Come on.
No, I'm serious because that. There's a lot of that same bullshit, a lot of integrity, and a lot of intrigue in that fight. A lot of bad blood, UK against America. I have no dog in it. I don't really follow female, but it should be pretty good because Clarissa Shields is the better technical, faster hands. She just never faced anybody that hits as hard as this girl. So I'm curious, has she really been beating up? Like a lot of her detractors, again, I don't know. I'm only going by what I hear. They say her resume isn't as good as she leads out to be. You know what I mean? So is this girl going to, put her on her ass? Or, I mean, I would imagine she'd have to really hurt her to stop her. I mean, to win, because I would imagine, Clarissa Shields the better boxer. So it's actually some intrigue there. Get none of that with any of the guys. It's pretty much all gimme fights.
Is that on its own card, or is that on an undercard of another fight?
Fuck her.
It was an undercard, I believe.
Fuck her and fuck them.
No, listen, that's the that's the fight. That's the main event, and I think they got some other broads fighting on the undercard. Let me check. I got the schedule right here. It says Clarissa Shields versus Savannah Marshall, Michaela Meyer versus Baumgardner. What an
That's another good fight.
Yeah, that's a bunch of broads fighting on that day. So like
but that's actually another good fight. Baumgardner and Mikel, she's signed with Top Rank, a very good schooled fighter. Baumgardner hits harder. She's sexier. That comes to play when it's females, right? Yeah, she looks good in a bikini. I don't think I'd want to fuck around a chick who could two-piece me.
That's true, but Larry Liston says, have fun watching that torture card. I mean, listen, there's something out there for everybody.
I'm not going to watch it live. I'm going to watch it after the fact in case it sucks. I'm not going to put myself through it.
Light a candle, get some lube. Hey, the thing about it is, I'm waiting until Halloween to watch that Clarissa Shields fight. Give me in the mood. Yeah, spooky,
all right, listen.
Scary.
Let's go to a phone call here. Let's go to 917. 917, you're on the air. 917. Oh shit. 917, you're on the air. What's on your mind?
Yes, hello. It's Mitsu calling again. How's everybody doing tonight?
Oh, it's a Greek guy that I think he's Greek. What's up, man? What's on your mind?
Oh, no way.
I'm Greek, my friend. Of course I'm Greek. Listen,
how you doing?
It's my opinion, but I'm doing good. How you doing? So we're talking about Savannah Marshall, we're talking about the Wilder right now.
We're talking about everything, man. Whatever you want to talk about, that's what we're talking about.
I just want to say I'm very excited. I'm going to the Wilder fight. It's Park Place. I bought the tickets.
Oh, good for you.
And I think he's gonna knock this guy out, no problem, man. He's gonna show us, he's still in the game. You know, I think
Absolutely.
so.
Let me ask you this, man. When you go to those fights, are you happy with the refreshments and the food that they provide at the Barclays, or do you try to sneak in your own Greek food in there?
He's serving it. He's cooking it.
Come on.
Believe it or not, this is gonna be my first boxing fight. So you know.
Oh, good for you.
But I went to the Barclays for the net, and the food is alright. But you know, I make a better souvlaki at home, but it's no problem. You know.
There you go.
Gotta mix it up.
There you go.
I
don't blame
it.
Ray, what's your name? Mitso? No, Mitso.
Mitso.
What's his
Mitso.
Mitso.
Mitso. With an M. Yeah.
All right, where's this going? All right, well listen, what else do you want to say, caller? Predictions or anything?
Hey, there's no smoking. Hey, there's no smoking in the Barclays Center, so you got to put those Pall Malls away when you go in.
Oh, man.
Yeah, first thing I'm going to do, light up a Marlboro. I get out of there. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Hey, my prediction, Wilder, third round, knockout. Clean, one shot.
Clean,
one
shot.
Are you going to have family over? You guys going to cook a goat in the front lawn?
Nah, come on. Now, wait a minute.
I know, just all my Greek friends do that. I'm not even making. That's what they do, man.
Yeah, I know.
I got a lot of Greek friends here, Lowell.
Let's not get into stereotypes, please. All right, well, Greek guy, what else, man? What else
That's what I do. He says, don't get into stereotypes. Okay, Greek guy, what else you got?
What? I'm getting lost. What's going on here?
You tell me, man. You're in charge for them. The floor is yours. You're in charge for the moment.
Don't get slick.
Oh, okay.
All right, well, listen, we got to go, man. Thank you for your call, Greek guy. Call back next time, all right, man?
No problem. Take it easy, guys. Keep it up. Keep it up. Thank you.
Keep it up, buddy. Take care.
Yes,
He says he's
I like that, dude. Every time he calls, he's always got his kids in the background.
Yeah, man. What the fuck?
Go on.
Hey, did you see that picture I posted?
Nah, come on, man. What the fuck? Yeah,
unbelievable. On the cross, he has PBC. I didn't even notice that until now. With Heyman?
Haymanites is going a little too far. He's going a little too far with that. That's a blasphemy right there, man. I'm not going to put that on the screen. No, but hey, listen, on a serious
he's
note.
Asian.
All right. On a serious note, we got to keep covering the fight that never was, or never will be, rather. Crawford versus Spence. Showtime now. Espinoza. Showtime Espinoza, as I like to call him, or as Conor McGregor called him, the Little Weasel. He said that this fight is being plagued by misinformation and that the fight is still on track. In fact, he said, I don't know where this November 19 date came from, but believe me, we're working on it. Well, they've been working it for the past 2 months now. What happened with Coppinger, by the way? I heard Coppinger got into it with Showtime and with Floyd Mayweather as well. Dare I say, does Coppinger finally have balls, or is this just part of a grander plan to deceive us?
I think they cut him loose. Honestly, he was the guy, the go-to guy was being fed probably through Kelly Swanson or Tim Smith. T Swizzle is what he goes by on Twitter. But I think he was being fed the bullshit stuff when he was gladly putting it out there. And then for some reason, next you know, Dan Raphael did his ode to Davis Twitter thread. And after that, it's all of a sudden been... he's literally tagging in Espinoza and Ellaby into his tweets. Can you believe how this guy? So he's now their new boy. They changed it up. It was originally I forget who it was, but then it went to Coppinger. Now it's to when Raphael. And also it was because Dan Raphael. What happened was Coppinger tweeted out something about Davis's numbers, and it wasn't Davis's numbers. He tweeted out something where it pissed off Ellaby, and Ellaby called him a liar. It had something to do with it. He goes, I don't know why you get your sources, but I don't know why anybody would believe you. And right there, imagine if you're like Al Hammond, and he's the guy you're giving your fucking numbers to, and he actually called him a liar on numbers. So they had to get rid of him. They had to go to somebody else, because what are you going to do, turn around and then use him? You just, one of your boys just said he's a fucking liar, and I wouldn't trust anything that any number he gives. So yeah, that was probably where the break went to Raphael.
Allow me to clarify here, because what I think what happened was...
What am I, Joe Biden?
No. But what I think happened was...
Joe Biden.
I think what happened with Coppinger was because he started going into Showtime because I think Espinosa said that the whole Conor Benn testing positive for a PED thing was an embarrassment. And so Mike Coppinger said, was it also an embarrassment when Morales was allowed to fight on Showtime in a rematch with Garcia after Morales tested positive for a PED? That was back in 2012, I believe. So I think that's what got them getting into each other. So, Jimmy, you believe Coppinger's been cut loose?
Yes, I believe he's cut ties. Well, honestly, it did. Why would he need to bottom feed any longer? He's with ESPN now. He's finally got the spot he wanted. You know what I mean? He started off at USA Box. He started off as a hockey guy, but went into boxing.
But you know what's interesting, Jimmy? As soon as he gets that ESPN clout, now he starts shitting on the PBC. So there's no honor amongst thieves, apparently. These guys are for hire.
Well, they also realize that they can't use him to leak, bullshit out there to the anybody who'll read it, because now he's working for an actual outlet, not his own Twitter feed. And so that plus, he questioned. In other words, it probably very little in the way of compensation or preferential treatment to get him to do that, and because he said something smart ass to Showtime, now Ellerby's going to jump in. Meanwhile, Ellerby was probably the source. Like, I don't know where he gets his numbers from. Coppinger should be like, actually, I got these tweets from you, these direct messages from you. You're one of my sources, you fuckhead. For the tank numbers, it was you, dumbass.
Yeah, this is amazing to watch, because Coppinger was a guy that he was on the PBC train, and now all of a sudden, whoops, hey, I got the ESPN, fuck you.
Well, he was actually a paid employee at one point. He was doing Inside the PBC with Sean Porter.
That's
he was
true.
The actual guy who was he was working for Fox. Him and Mark Ortega, who still works for Fox, but now he's doing football analytics. He just shits on boxing reporters like he failed to make it. And he'll always throw jabs at Steve Kim's writing, and he'll throw jabs at Mike Montero. He's just such a shitbag.
I don't know who that is. But now it's interesting, going back to things that matter. When we're talking about the other fight here, Crawford versus Spence. So Spinoza says, yeah, he's still on board. We're still working on it. I mean, we talked about Deontay Wilder fatigue. Haven't people gotten Crawford-Spence fatigue at this point? I mean, how many updates can we get? Every day. Oh, yeah. Here's what he said. He said, the reality is that these things take a life of their own. The reality is, I don't even know how the November 19th date got out there, Espinosa said. All of a sudden, it was written in stone. The reality is there have been a lot of dates that we talked about. November 19th is one of them. I'm as anxious as anybody else, as a fan, to get this done. Then he says that the only two people that are more anxious than him are Errol and Terrence, because they want to see the fight happen.
And my thing is this, Mr. BDA, who's closer to the situation? Al's mouthpiece, which is Floyd, or fucking Espinoza, which I believe the relationship is still strained since all that shit they try to feed him. And Floyd said the fight's not happening. He actually put it like that. Didn't say it's not happening. He said it's not happening, and then I believe he said something like February of next year. So. Because again, if you did the time, because you look at a press conference, you got to do that, a tour, you want to do probably a fight that big, you want to set them around a little bit. So yeah, there's just not enough time to make it. It would have to fall in after Thanksgiving, which would be just ridiculous. So it's not going to. Now it's going to be a year and a half since the last time Crawford fought. He's going to step in and fight. I mean, it just doesn't make sense.
Ridiculous, man. Ridiculous.
Crawford's got absolutely no fucking leverage. There's no promoter working on this fight. That's the issue. You are, as Terrence Crawford, you have no promoter. You have no alternate fight to take. You have no other opponents, right? That's why they keep talking, like airing out about Keith Thurman's going to come out and get ready to fight Spence. They're holding that over Crawford's head. Like, we got other fights over here,
Exactly.
You have no promoter. You have a manager. That's it. And you're asking for money. You're basically taking your cues from Spence's manager. I don't care about Tom Brown or any of these other people. Yeah, he's not going to show you the books. He's not going to be straight with you on the expenses. If it's 35% of the gross, then he's going to fuck you on expenses. You'll basically get kickbacks from some vendor. He'll blow money the other way and get money on the back end. He's not going to show you the books. Now that we're over that, what do you think is going to go smoothly from here on out?
I know.
It's going to be.
Well, so to his credit, though, he said no. I guess right to his credit, I guess what's the sticking point. He said, "No, if you're not showing me the books, I'm not going to fight."
Dude,
which I don't blame him. Good for him.
You're talking about like that's base level. That's just
I know.
There's no promoter here whose best interest is the show, like the actual event. It's just Heyman's got the best interest of Spence, and Crawford's trying to negotiate with Spence's manager. He's going to get fucked all the way till the first bell rings. Like the fight will happen, but he's going to get fucked around. It's going to make like the ring size and the Canelo, Billy Joe fight look like cute. He's going to fuck with him all the way. And the more and more Crawford gets invested in it in terms of training camps and everything else, they know they're going to have more leverage on him.
Well, let me ask you, Jimmy. Let me ask you something, yes. Jimmy. You said that Crawford has that attorney. I remember when we were talking about the lawsuit, you were talking about how he's got an attorney who is invested in a lot of this racism stuff.
Yeah,
right?
He knows. He was an attorney. Well, Mahara Kari, the singer. Anyways, Al Heyman she used to actually date Floyd there for a while too. So there's that connection. But her attorney was Friedman, the same guy, and Al Heyman used to promote her tours. So he's
an entertainment lawyer.
But
that's what I want. So my question, my question was to that.
Yeah, very connected with Heyman.
Then the reason why I asked it is, do you think he's experienced in working out or ironing out boxing contracts and saying, "Hey, look, like what Pete alluded to, size of the ring, gloves." Like, does he have experience in knowing what's best for a fighter when he's working on that contract?
No. This guy, he's the lawyer. He's representing Crawford in the lawsuit, the lawsuit against Arum in the racist thing.
Okay, so he might not be the one that.
He's the plaintiff's attorney in that case, and a guy like that, he's an entertainment attorney. So he's after the fact when it's a fucking mess and nobody's paid right, and there's a question about the money or the syndication and entertainment or all these back end points that have to do with syndication for TV shows and stuff. He comes in, or record deals, sales. He comes in then after the fact. He doesn't know enough to it's the promoter. You have to have a promoter who's putting on the show. He tells both sides, look, you're being unreasonable. Look, you got to take this and let's shift it over here. Let's make this thing work. They don't have that.
Yeah, Friedman's only connection to Crawford is he's representing him in the lawsuit that hasn't gone forward. Remember, he hasn't even filed the proper paperwork yet to keep that thing going forward. I think he's dragging his feet on that. Is that pissing off Heyman? Probably, because I know fucking Heyman hates Bob Arum since he had. So Friedman is the same guy who represented Mickey Garcia against Bob Arum.
That's right.
So there's a lot of familiarity there.
But here, though, this is like basically Espinosa is probably he's probably taking every fucking Showtime boxing dollar he could get his hands on for the rest of this fiscal year. That's why they announced no fall schedule, and pay-per-views don't count. There's no investment there. So he's allocated all that towards this fight, and he's probably allocated next year's budget towards this fight and doesn't want to have to do that. And he's on his way out too. He's about to pack his bags too if Showtime just is done with boxing. So he's probably putting as much money towards it as he can. Heyman's probably corrupted him like he did the hedge fund manager. He's a weasel. He's a straight weasel.
How difficult would it be for Crawford to just represent himself? It's pretty easy from what I've seen that they're
That's what he's doing.
Yeah, but he should just say,
That's what he's doing right now.
Are you making a judicial determination? You just call objection to everything? Yeah, just say
that was per se.
Pro se.
Grounds.
Grounds. He keeps saying grounds too, by the way. There's a meme now. There's that guy's making coffee because he keeps saying grounds. But look, there's the other tidbit here that Joe mentioned in the chat. And again, you got to take it with a grain of salt because these fucking people, that every time they tell you, again, it's another Crawford Spence. But from what I see here on Twitter, both Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia tweeted the same day, I believe, a couple of hours ago, done. Now, Gervonta Davis ended up taking off his tweet. He deleted it. But Ryan Garcia is still up there. So some people are speculating that they made the fight happen. Guys, I know we've been through this before, but what do you think this could mean?
I wouldn't I wouldn't hold your breath waiting for that fight either. I just don't see that happening because, again, is he going to let Davis fight on DAZN, or are they going to let Golden Boy going to allow him to go over to the PBC? I just don't see it happening unless obscene money and it's a 50-50 split. I don't know. I don't see how that fight could go down. And yeah. And also with Crawford, like to Pete's point, if he had an actual promoter right now, he have that leverage of saying, you know what, I'm just going to go make another fight. If he was with Bob right now, I'd say Bob, somebody else right now. Even if it's a give me, just to keep me sharp. Right now, this is both aging him out and getting him fucking ring rusted up. So it's like, that's beneficial to Spence as far as I'm concerned. Spence is used to being ring rust. He's been used to being put on a shelf. It's been happening for fucking half a decade.
Jeez, Louise.
Yeah, the fight's going to suck too. That's another thing. But the thing is, Aaron was paying him, basically penalizing himself if that fight didn't. In other words, he was getting a check simply because the Spence fight wasn't made in 2020, or let's just say, right? Like every year, every time it wasn't made, he got extra compensated for it.
Yeah, when he fought Porter, he got 6.5 million instead of 3.5.
Yeah, he jumped ship on fucking Heyman. I mean, on Arum, because in his own mind, basically, the let's just say 20% that Arum would have made on the actual show itself, on the entire event, and Crawford got talked into. Look, get rid of it. You don't need a promoter anymore. You're Terrence Crawford. Now that 20% is going to go to you. So now when you make this fight, now it's going to be Terrence Crawford promotion and man down promotion, and your promotion is going to get what Arum would have taken. But of course, once he took his hand off that branch without having, he didn't even go to another promoter. It was just like, I'm done. And what leverage do you have now? You're gonna get fucked around all the way to the end. It's just, I don't know, man. It's gonna happen because it kind of like has to happen for both. But it's just gonna be it's gonna be a Teofimo Lopez going to some pipe dream, chasing around some pipe dream on that Triller bid all over again. It's going to be 18 months of wasted time and wasted money.
That's an excellent comparison. Crawford's career right now, the way it's going, or at this moment of his career at least, very Teofimo Lopez-ish. This guy has delusions of grandeur. I never understood why people still kept him in the top 3 pound for pound. I know that's what ESPN had for a while there, and I think they still do. This guy fought Porter. And the only saving grace for Crawford is that he became the first man to stop Porter. Other than that, there's already people that had beaten Porter. So the only thing special he did is what he stopped him. And the stoppage was a little blasé, so if you ask me. So this guy, he thinks he's the best. He thinks he deserves, like I said in the last episode, deserve has nothing to do with this right now. You might be the most skilled, the most talented, blah, blah, blah. If you can draw a crowd, don't expect 20 mil because you're so talented. And the other thing with Crawford is he's renowned for not liking interviews. He's not an entertaining person. He doesn't hit a chord with mainstream America. Look at his appearance on Joe Rogan. That's supposed to be the launching pad for more people to know you. And instead, he just sat there mumbling. No. It was Bomac who was doing most of the talking. So this guy does not deserve the amount of money he thinks he does. And same thing with Errol Spence, by the way. Yeah, at least Spence can draw in Texas.
Both ways, right?
Yeah,
right.
But at least Spence can draw in Texas if he fights the right guy. This fucking Crawford can draw flies anywhere. Oh no, actually, I'm sorry. Nebraska. He was doing well in Omaha when he fought over there. That wasn't that bad. But still, it's in terms of pay-per-view buys, it ain't gonna happen. But so you guys are saying that Davis Garcia, that's a pipe dream. Because I mean,
everybody's flat out saying that they're not going to fight anybody except for basically PBC guys. So I mean, they're just flat out being honest with you and telling you that. I don't see why he would step it up all of a sudden from from the likes of Rolly and Leo Santa Cruz. Now we're going to Ryan Garcia. It just doesn't.
But why would you post something? Why would you post something, especially Ryan Garcia? Why would you post something that later is going to give you depression? When people are going to talk down on you because you're saying something. It's true, like when he called out Pacquiao, he got a lot of backlash. That probably hurt his ego. So why are you going to post something if you're Ryan Garcia? Like, done with the 4 fucking eyeballs. And basically, like, people are going to talk negatively because you promised something that you're never going to deliver. That sounds weird. That seems weird.
That's true.
Davis, it's a different story.
That's true, but you know what?
Yeah. I don't understand that. I don't understand that whole thing. Someone walk me through that. So what he posted?
What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean?
I'm asking.
The eyeballs right now.
You're saying since the fight didn't happen, you're saying he's going to.
Well, BDA just put it up there. They said done. Basically, they made an accord. You know, we're going to fight each other, insinuating that. I think what else would it be? Right? Done deal.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I mean, why would he do that? He's going to get a lot of backlash, and they're going to think he's a clown. When you promise something that you don't deliver, it looks pretty stupid.
Yeah, but you know what I think it is, Gonzalo? I think that they know, or I don't know if they know, or maybe they don't care, that the Twitter crowd, they'll still latch on to their every word. You're talking like a normal person, a person that grew up without social media. You're like, fuck these guys. They're just yammering and yapping like a bunch of schoolgirls. But a lot of people, this new generation, they hang on to their every word. So, okay, maybe the fight's not going to happen, even though they sort of intimated and teased that it would happen. Then they're going to do it again in 3 months or so or whatever. And people are going to be right back to latching onto their words, retweeting and the whole thing. It's a new generation, man. It's a generational thing. And these people, they don't, if they build it, they will come. That's how it works with Twitter and Instagram and all these places. They're attracted to it, like moths to a light. But yeah, so that's the one. That's the supposedly they're saying, hey, listen, I'm crossing my fingers. I'd be very happy if it happens. But like Jimmy said,
so basically what you're saying, BDA, this is like next level trolling that is something like normal to people nowadays. Could be, man.
Could be. Wouldn't surprise me how people's brains are all fucked up now. I tell you what's not fucked up though, or excuse me, I tell you who's going to get fucked up most likely. Anthony Yarde. The fight against Beterbiev has been rescheduled and it is happening on January the 28th. Well, let me tell you a couple of 3 things here. Yarde is a big light heavyweight. He's got some talent, some explosiveness, very athletic. And Beterbiev, he's old. He's 37, I believe. And he's sort of falling apart now a little bit. As you can see, the fight was supposed to happen this year in the fall. They had to postpone it because Beterbiev got injured. What do you guys think about this fight? What can we expect?
That's gonna be a technical. That's gonna be a technical virtuoso. It's gonna be a technical masterpiece. Boxing, moving. No, they're gonna bang the shit out of each other in the middle of the ring. Wow, I didn't know they made that fight. Well, it's not gonna be Haney Kambosos. I can assure you that. It's gonna end in a fucking. Someone's gonna get carried the fuck out of there. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Probably Yard.
Yeah, Yard's will be man. He's like Doc's athletic. He's younger. He's pretty big. I mean, the dude's probably bigger than Beterbiev.
Well, it's too much muscle, though. I think that's his problem, though. Yeah, I think he gets too winded. Remember against Kovalev, how he didn't lose, he didn't get knocked out, stopped because he got hurt so much. He was just so out of gas. I think he carries too much muscle, and I think he doesn't hit as hard as he looks. Put it that way. I think he looks more muscular than he hits hard. Whereas Beterbiev has cracks. I mean, Beterbiev. I think Beterbiev puts that boy's lights out.
I mean, look, his defense
6-7 rounds.
His defense isn't all that. Kovalev was beating him up with a jab alone. That being said, he does seem to be improving. You look at the Lyndon Arthur fight. The first one, he tried to box the guy. He got outboxed. Then the second one, he seemed to learn how to fight on the inside. And Lyndon Arthur didn't know how to fight on the inside. And Yarde just beat him up. So if, and it's a big if, but if he gets on the inside against Beterbiev, smothers him, tries to make it a fight, then again, flip side to that coin is, look at what happened with Joe Smith. He went after Beterbiev and it ended sooner than it should have. So, yeah,
he got a beating.
Beterbiev's kind of a hooker, you know. He's kind of like a hooker. So it's like, to get inside on him is probably a mistake. Like a guy like Bivol could probably handle, Beterbiev just with his range and his. You got to stick and move against that guy. You can't be hooking off with Beterbiev, I don't think. But he is 37. What's he got? Like 20 fights or something? He's one of these like long-time amateurs again with this guy.
Right? Yeah.
Like 18.
Well, no, not even. He didn't have a long. He started boxing late. That's why. So that's why he doesn't have that many amateur fights and he doesn't have that many professional fights either. He's just a natural talent.
Wow.
Yeah. But I mean, even then, I'm not saying he's Roy Jones level type talent, but he's, he's a big dude. He's learning on the job. He's actually got good instincts for a guy that just recently started boxing. But man, Beterbiev is just on another level. I think Yarde is going to probably try to get on the inside against Beterbiev and try to make it sloppy. try to make it an Andrew Ward type fight. But you know what it is too? Fucking, you gotta give Yari credit. Ever since he stopped sparring his trainer, I think that used to be his main sparring partner. He's actually improved now, I think, now that he's got some real sparring partners. Is he still with Tundi or whatever his name is? I'd have to check. But that's for a while, that's what he was doing. He was sparring his trainer. Some dude that looks like Carlos Takam in there. I don't know how good that was. But yeah, so that's the one fight in January. Unfortunately, not this year, but hey, January, not that far away. The other thing is, the other fight, like I mentioned, Prograis versus Cepeda. Who's looking forward to that one?
Yeah, I am. That's an interesting fight.
But Gonzalo, doesn't it seem like Cepeda sort of falls short sometimes?
Sometimes, yeah. Like the way he looked against Hank Lundy was a little underwhelming. But I mean, he won. But when he's on, man. He's an accurate puncher, and I would say underrated puncher.
Oh yeah,
because
absolutely.
when he's hitting you, you're a lot of these guys are falling down. Like, man, it's pretty powerful for a lefty. Also, that provides for an interesting matchup against another lefty. And Prograis is good, man. He's also a good puncher. But the thing with Prograis, you know what I thought would have won him the fight if he would have stuck to a certain game plan, like boxer puncher. But then he started doing that against what is this guy? The Josh Taylor. He was doing that. But then he started doing the whole sweepy thing, getting a little too defensive. Like he was spinning around, moving at the waist too much and trying to make that dude miss while not being offensive at all. And still was a close fight between him and Taylor. He's got to stick to a certain game plan, because a lot of times, yeah, you are a puncher, but if you ain't knocking the other dude out, you got to invest in doing one thing and consistent with that in order to get a result. Break the dude down. If you're gonna be a boxer puncher and there's a method to the madness, like I'm gonna break this dude down, you got to follow up. You can't be like, oh, I'm gonna try to break you down. Imagine Julio Cesar Chavez chipping at an opponent and breaking that dude, and all of a sudden, hey, stop! I'm just gonna change my game plan and do something else altogether. No, you got to be consistent with it, and it also gets the judges thinking, man, what is this guy doing? That's what cost him the fight against Taylor. He was too ambivalent in that regard. Yeah, follow through and stick to a game plan, and make it seem like you're about something. Not that you're like, wait, we're like between here and between there, and like you can't figure yourself out. That's what cost them, I think. If that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense. Anyone else want to mention something about that, or let me know? Well, let me add something then to what Gonzalo said about that fight. Yeah, John Cepeda, he hits hard. That's for sure. But like you said, he weighs a little bit too much. But on the other hand, Regis Prograis, let's face the facts here. This guy is 35 now? Hold on, let me check it out. 33. Okay, he's not that old now. Okay, now that I think about it. Okay, what the fuck? Jimmy, the fuck are you putting on the Discord, man?
Oh, what? No, because Pete was... No, never mind. Maybe he kept saying hookers or something.
Yeah, but I mean, oh my God. All right, I can put that on the screen, man. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, Prograis, he gave fucking Josh Taylor a great fight. Went right down the wire. And in fact, here's a funny thing. I thought that if Josh Taylor boxed from the outside against Prograis, he was going to beat him. When Prograis boxed from the outside in that fight, he was getting the best of Taylor. That's when I realized Taylor's not a long-range fighter. But anyway, the point is, Prograis has very good instincts. Natural fighter. But at 33, Jimmy's always saying iron sharpens iron. This guy has not staged. The guys he's fighting have not kept him sharp. Let's take a look at his last couple of opponents. Since the Taylor fight, for 3 years, he's been languishing. So he took on Juan Heraldez, who was undefeated, but unheralded. Heraldez, unheralded. In the PBC card, that was when Prograis was still in sort of promotional limbo. He knocks this guy out. He looked good, but against, a guy that was unproven. Then he takes on Ivan Redkach. Bizarre ending to that fight, inconclusive. Then he takes on Tyrone McKenna. Looks good. But again, he's taking on a guy, Jose Cepeda, who's in the last couple of years has fought excellent, and I do mean excellent competition. I'm talking about Ramirez. I'm talking about, well, maybe I'm exaggerating with the undefeated Puerto Rican guy that he beat the last time. What was his name again? Trash talker. Anyway, he also beat Pedraza. So he has been fighting better opposition. So I'm intrigued about this fight, that's for sure. That's for sure. Anyway, guys, what do you guys want to talk about? I think I ran through all the subjects.
It's pretty much do or die for these guys, man. Because Progress has been gone for a few years, and Cepeda he was riddled with injuries a few years ago, but now he's being consistent. He's got a new trainer, I think, the Korean dude. I think his name is Julian something. Actually, he trains Progress as well, so I don't think he's going to be in either guy's corner. Yeah, but he's been searching for this. He's been searching for this opportunity too for a long time. So basically, this is do or die for these two guys.
And Progress,
this is the type of fights I like, man.
Yeah, he had something lined up there a couple of times, a couple of decent fights. One against Mickey Garcia that got yanked because Mickey wanted, remember, 5 to 7 minutes. This seems to happen to him a lot. I mean, he's got that one loss. He went life and death with Josh Taylor. Some people gave it to him. Said that they thought Greg did enough. So really, I mean, in essence, he's almost a blemish-free resume, and it's just weird. It's like his career died on the vine. Just never went anywhere. And he seems to want to fight. Seems to be a smart kid on the outside the ring. He's invested in like 18-wheelers. I guess he has his own trucking company. He's got guys working for him. So good for him. He's a family man. So at least he's doing right with what he's got with his money. So what?
He's got some old school training methods, hitting tires. He also runs with construction boots on. He's always in shape. But that's why I'm intrigued to see whether he's gonna be sharp for this fight, because you can train as much as you want, as we've seen in the last 2 years. You can train as much as you want, but it's actually fighting that keeps you sharp. And he hasn't been fighting that much, and he hasn't been fighting guys that are all that good. So I'm intrigued to see what happens. Hey, by the way, speaking of Josh Taylor. Oh, go ahead, Gonzalo. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know where people keep getting this that 33 is still young. I don't think it's that young, man. I don't know if times have changed where they're considering 33 young now. But nah, man, it's not really that young.
You might be right. I mean, everyone ages differently sometimes, some of these boxers. But speaking of Josh Taylor, apparently he's not with Ben Davison anymore. Can anybody confirm about that? Has anyone heard about that?
Yeah, who knows? Josh Taylor?
Yep.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything about that Ben Davis cat for a long time.
Because here's what I just saw today on the BBC, via the BBC. There's a communique a wire from the BBC. Josh Taylor teams up with trainer Joe McNally after parting ways with Ben Davison. Yeah, there he goes.
Good. So best thing he could have done.
Come on.
You don't like that Davison guy, huh, Jimmy?
No, not at all. Yeah, I'm not fucking. He tries to make it about himself and just. And I've just seen what he's done. He's taken fighters, and I mean, look at the difference between Sugar Hill. Because Sugar Hill, look at Ben Davis is a personal trainer. I bet you know what he's good at. Sitting down, he'll get you motivated with his mouth. Man, by the time you're done talking to him, he'll have you convinced. If they dug up fucking Sugar Ray Robinson, you'd knock the dick out of him too. So. You know what I mean? Like that type of dude, he just gets you all fired up, and you're like, but when it comes down to it, he's not a boxing guy. You know why? You get the proof in the pudding. Look look at the way Fury fought Wilder the first fight. Completely wrong. Sugar Hill, a fighting guy, looks at his attributes, sees what Wilder has, says, no, dude, you're doing it all wrong, man. You got to crowd this guy. You got to get in his chest, make it dirty, lay on him, use your size. Like these things. No, that's not Ben Davis's road, and he did the same thing with Taylor, man. I thought he made a lot of fighters. I've seen him look worse after they work with him. Just not convinced. You don't come around out of nowhere and just suddenly become a boxing guy. It's not how it works.
I forget, what was the fight where he was in someone's corner, Davison that is, and his fighter got a knockout, and I think it was you, Jimmy, who said he was on the telephone. And people were like, oh man, he's tweeting 2 seconds after his guy wins. He's already in the ring tweeting. And then you said, I think that you said that, and you said that he's the type of guy that after a fight, he goes to the strip club and he starts bringing up his coaching credentials to the strippers. Okay, oh yeah, I trained Tyson Fury. Yeah. That sounds like it's true. It sounds like something he would do, man. trying to get some from the strippers by bringing that.
Guy's cringe all the way.
Here's what I'm hearing from this guy, because I don't know who his new trainer. What's his name again? Hold on, I'm looking. McNally. So if somebody from the UK could call in or let us know, but apparently it says that he's worked with David Price and Liam Smith. But here's the thing. he's previously worked with Liam Smith and David Price. What does that mean, worked with? Because he could have been in the camp, and that's like, well, he worked with them, or did he train them? And if he did train them, for how long? For how many fights? It's all very nebulous to me, and I'd like some clarification on this issue. So maybe next, somebody in the comment section, in the chat, or eventually let us know, because I'm curious. Because the thing with Josh Taylor was, look,
under that language, I would say work means trained them, right? That's how I would take it.
I would suspect, but then again, this is boxing.
You keep changing trainers. That's not also good either, because a lot of trainers have their own philosophies. A lot of trainers, correct. And they try to put their thing on you. I say it all the time, the best trainer doesn't have a style, doesn't have a way. A best trainer is going to hide your defects and, shine light on your attributes, the things you're good at. Try to hide your deficiencies while amplifying your attributes that you're good at. So, in whatever way that manifests itself.
Correct.
I could also add that it would be wise for him to get a trainer that specializes, that sees things through a southpaw's eyes, because Josh Taylor's a southpaw. So the trainer's also got to think like a southpaw and see things through the southpaw's eyes. And the interesting thing about the lightweight division, man, there's a whole hell of a lot of southpaws, man. I can think of 5'6" just off the top of my head, man. So it's one of those things.
Yeah. That's a good point, Gonzalo. That's a good point. Now, the interesting thing about Josh Taylor is, and actually now you got me thinking, I'm going to look that up, how many southpaws there are. But the thing with Josh Taylor, he's a weird fighter because he's a pound-for-pound guy. Because to me, pound-for-pound is resume, and, if you can put your talent and skills at work and get the best wins. That's what Josh Taylor has done. He's got a fantastic record. But that being said, I don't consider him having pound-for-pound skills. I think he gets hit too often. He's not that great fighting on the outside, which you would expect from a guy with that type of length. He doesn't jabble that much. So that's what I said when I mentioned he doesn't have world-class or pound-for-pound skills, top 5 pound-for-pound skills. But nevertheless, he's managed to make it work because he hits hard, he's tenacious, he is decent defensively when he wants to be. And so I think that's that with him. But I've been very hesitant about him moving up at 147. They were talking about him versus Terence Crawford. If he doesn't, put weight on and absorb shots better, I would see him getting stopped by Terence Crawford, because defensively he's got a lot of holes. So that's the weird thing with me and Josh Taylor. Right? I've never seen him as invincible, but he's just a thoroughbred. He gets things done. He's got power. I like that he goes to the body, but I don't know. I mean, look, when he fought Ramirez, though, there was good and the bad, but there was glaring good and glaring bad. The good was he was able to drop Ramirez. He cut him with some good shots. Nobody was able to do something similar to Ramirez with that type of power. But then he was also holding a lot. He was eating combos late in the fight. That's why he was holding a lot. And then the Catterall fight. I'm
punching on the break. Punching on the break. Breaked him.
So I'm very interested to see what happens with the Catterall rematch. I want to see if it was a fluke. Maybe El Gato really is that good. I don't know. What do you guys think?
He's big. He's physical, right, Catterall? And when he was throwing that straight left, when Catterall was throwing that straight left down the middle, he was getting that guy in, and he was punching through the target, man, and he wasn't missing. Even though, I don't know who was, Ben Davis in the corner, whoever was there, telling him probably, hey, man, get away from that left hand. He couldn't get away. So get away from that punch. And some people, and some fighters, you could say that they're suckers for a punch. Even though they know you're getting hit, they know they're getting hit with that punch, they just can't get away from it.
It's a good point, man. It's a good point. But it's interesting that some people were saying, well, Josh Taylor deserved to win because Catterall was holding a lot. Yeah, but he wasn't snapping his head back with the clinches. He was snapping his head back with those left fans, and he couldn't get out of the way, like Gonzalo said. The only saving grace for Taylor in that fight was that Catterall ended up getting tired a little bit, and that's why he was holding. Even then, I thought he took the 12th round. Catterall, that is. He just, was fighting on fumes, but he still kept landing that left in the 12th. So I'm very curious to see what happens, man. And Josh Taylor has become...
What was the decision in that fight, BDA? I'm sorry. Did that go against Josh Taylor?
No, he won. Majority, I believe. Hold on, let me check. But yeah, he shouldn't have won that fight.
He should have or should not have won?
Should not have.
Okay, yeah. So let's just call it a bad outing, right? So you think so following that he got rid of his trainer? I mean,
that's probably what happened.
Fight he fought?
Yeah, that's probably the reason.
Yeah, you know what? These managers, I think sometimes these managers or handlers, fathers, whatever, they either lose or they come up short in a fight they should have won, or they get a win, but everybody kind of realizes that it was a bad night for them. And I don't know if it's a coping type of thing, they just got to switch, man. It was the manager's fault. Everything starts, they just want to change everything instead of go back to the drawing board. And a lot of I'm assuming it's just like any coach, but a lot of this shit, the night of the fight is really just kind of like, you got to execute. The work has already been done, and the training camp is really what I like to see, because I know some of these trainers get a bunch of flack and some of them get cut loose. And like Jimmy said, with the Eubank fight, like none of those expenses are paid. You got to get paid after the fighter's paid. So it's like, I get a feeling that they short him on the check too, and fucking say the hell with it.
Well, the interesting thing about Josh Taylor is kind of reminded me a little bit of Amir Khan and De La Hoya. Those guys, every time they had a bad outing or a loss, boom, change trainer. Amir Khan, he would just switch trainers. And that's, it's sort of the cop out. It's like, well, it wasn't me, it was the trainer. Fucker. I mean, the trainer's not fighting for you. And sure, the trainer can make a difference.
If it was a bad training camp and you weren't prepared properly for the opponent, like you didn't scout the opponent properly, or, you were fucking around with the sparring partners, they weren't coming in right. That's all. But I mean, it seems like a lot of these guys jump ship either just to leave the blame with the last trainer, or because, they're telling them what they need to hear, not what they want to hear, which is what any good coach will do. Fucking straighten you out, not hype you up like not a cheerleader, just to give it to you straight. But the night of the fight, I don't know what you're going to tell Tyson Fury in the ring. If you tell him the box or if you tell him the brawl, I don't know what you're going to fucking, how much. At a certain point, these guys are been in the game so long, and you're just coming in on your first or second fight with them. You don't take Picasso's brush away and give him a pencil. It's not the way it works. You just work with what you got, like Jimmy said.
It's like Taylor versus Jose Ramirez. You have to be real careful with the lead hand. Now all of a sudden you're fighting Catterall. You have to be real careful, which probably he didn't anticipate. But I mean, he is a southpaw, Catterall, but he was getting hit with the trail hand. So it's one of those things, man. Then like I mentioned, in the 140-pound division, you got Jose Ramirez, you got Prograis, you got Catterall, you got Pedraza, you got Taylor. There's this whole lot of southpaws, and when you got a southpaw versus a southpaw, I know I've mentioned this a few times and people know, and it kind of gets old, but it's not the same as a righty versus a righty, or a righty versus a lefty. Southpaw versus southpaw is kind of different, because it doesn't happen that often. So it's one of those things, you have to prepare to fight a southpaw in the 140-pound division, because sooner or later you're going to face one. It may be back to back.
And that's the difference, because
southpaw versus southpaw.
And that's the difference, because he fought Prograis, but that didn't turn into an outside fight, save for a couple of spots. Catterall was the guy that went in there and said, let's make it an outside fight, and fucking he couldn't miss with that left hand. So, I mean, maybe the trainer's going to come up with some magic formula to make Taylor avoid those left hands, but usually that's not the trainer's, he can't fight the fight for Taylor. So we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. With that being said,
it's like AJ, they're talking about him leaving Robert Garcia. That'd be so fucking foolish. I really hope he, I know that the quote was taken at it, but I hope he really does stick with Garcia, because he's made a lot of improvement, fought a much better fight in the second fight than the first one. Robert Garcia did a great fucking job. I don't know what anybody's talking about. That was, unless he's got a better name lined up, but that'd be just completely.
It's probably maybe it's a timing thing. I mean, or because he lives in England, Garcia's on the West Coast. It's like a fucking 12-hour flight. I would assume maybe there has something.
Well, it's not Garcia that wants
trainers.
It's not Garcia that doesn't want to do it. They're talking about AJ wanting not to, to discontinue with Robert. But you know what?
Maybe it's because of
California.
Because what else would it be? Because I think he did a better job with them. I agree with you 100%.
Great job. Yeah. Come on, man. Kambosos in that. Kambosos in that Tiafimo fight, when he was over here, away from Australia, when he was away, basically he was in a training camp over here. He living in Fort Lauderdale, but yeah, you're not home. AJ should get out of fucking London or whatever. Go to goddamn Riverside and go to California and fucking go to a training camp. Get your mind around the fight. Quit with the distractions. You should go to Garcia anyway.
Yep.
Well, listen, fellas, we do have to go. Gonna wrap it up
I
here.
just want to add one last thing. You always ask everybody if they have anything else to add. I just want to add one thing.
Well, I didn't ask this time.
I want to say, well, I'm going to add it anyway. I was that tough guy. All right, listen, what I'm going to do. Fuck Andre Ward, man. I'm so tired of his bullshit.
Boy, what happened?
Did you see he was on with Max Kellerman going after fucking not so, what do they say? Not so hidden slights. They just dogging on fucking Canelo's resume. Just having their balls to go on there and saying, yeah, he's like, benefit of careful matchmaking, that type of language, and just basically shitting on his resume. It's not as thick with people as you would think, being the face of boxing. Fucking achieved a hell of a lot more than you knucklehead. You know what I mean? Just the bitterness of this dude, the bitterness of him. Sorry, dude, you never became a crossover star, and he just goes after everybody who does and just says that. I don't know. There's an article in Boxing Scene. I put it in the Discord. I just think the dude just got to shut the fuck up because he hurts his credibility as a, working on ESPN calling fights. Because you want to be the color commentator. I think he does a great job when he starts giving his opinion on shit. And when he says things like, which for me completely has destroyed anything he says from this day forward, when he tries to say that Canelo and Davis is the same thing. Remember when he made that comment, like fighting the same level of competition? It was just so absurd. But I just want to say he's at it again, going after Canelo's. Just wanted to put it out there.
God forbid I start defending Canelo. I mean, the guy's such a big star. Mayweather City comes with the territory. But it is true. Ward is he's acting like a diva. And the thing about Andre Ward is, on this show, I always gave him credit for his defense. But look, when he was as dirty as he was throughout multiple fights, you can't help but wonder, what if the ref would have warned him or fucking outright disqualified him for some of the shit he pulled in those fights? It would be a very different career.
What happens if he fought just once where he didn't have every conceivable thing in his favor? Location, type of gloves are being worn, thickness of the pad, size of the ring. You know what I mean? Referee, his hometown. Like, he never traveled. He just, you know what I mean, dude?
I agree with him about Canelo. I agree with him about Canelo cherry picking his fights, but Ward is just fucking pissed off that he tried to do it and couldn't do it. Mayweather wrote the book on it. Canelo took it over. It's just Mayweather 2.0, and Ward tried it, but he just came up short.
Not to go into the big Canelo fucking pit, but at what time do you think he cherry picked or danced around certain opponents or avoided people in a weight class? I'd say Triple G, definitely. He's strung that along.
If I can answer that, if I can answer that, I don't think he's been cherry picking necessarily, but he has been pulling the A side advantages, like the weight class. Yeah, but that's the advantage of being the A side. Everybody does. I know, but that's what I'm saying.
Sugar Ray Leonard. Yeah, but it's not like I don't think he's like swerved opponents in whatever division he's in.
It's not about Canelo per se. It's not about Canelo per se. It's just anytime you get one player or one team that can supersede the sport, that can just, like, the face of it is fine if you're the face of it. If you can actually call shots, if I can decide what my workload is, I might be like a hard worker and I might, give it a go, but I'm going to know in the back of my mind that it's my choice how hard I work today or how many hours I put in. Like, I don't have that choice, but I'm just saying, when a guy can get bigger than the sport, you run the risk of going through the resistance. That's all I'm saying.
Andre Ward, in his mind, he probably justifies it like this. Back when like the 2010 or 11, when that Super 6 tournament was happening between the 68-pound division, there were like better names. Mikhail Kessler and the guys that he fought. Who else? Arthur Abraham and the other fellas. But now when Canelo, all of a sudden, there's in this 4-belt era, he fights for Undisputed. Then he's got the names on his resume for the guys that held the titles. Because he never really cherry-picked those guys. Those are the guys that had the titles. He collected them belts. Now, in his mind, he's probably saying, well, I fought these guys back in 2010, 2011, whatever. Look at the fights that Canelo fought nowadays. So in the meat and potatoes of like all these wins against undefeated opponents, Andre Ward's probably like, yeah, man, I had better opponents. I'm better than this guy in reality. But look at him; he's way more popular, and I am somewhat jealous.
Well, I mean, listen, let's face the facts too. With Andre Ward, everyone in that tournament had to fight at least once in the other guy's hometown. He didn't. All his fights took place in the US of A. So that's another knock against. I mean, listen, let's look into who his manager was. I'm not going to get into that now, but look into his manager. For all the shit Fury gets about Kinahan, which is a coordinated attack, never hear the same about Andrew Ward's manager. Let that sink in there for a little bit. All right, well, listen, we do have to go. Was that Jimmy?
No, I said a little bit. I was just
a little bit.
Real quick. Can I just say one thing real quick? Because I know all I'm saying is that anytime you see a boxer getting bigger than, I think he can call his own. If the Patriots could set their own schedule, then they might go at it and give you great games. But sooner or later, they just walk in some shit ass opponents, just because they know they can. And when the opponents know that you're gonna take what they give them, in terms of money, and in terms of, it held up the whole 68 division. And to Gonzalo's point about the belts, look, you can keep bringing up Suleiman and the franchise belt, but guys, you can't like go crazy after undisputed when these guys can just they set their own rules and they set them they're setting rules the night of the fight. They're double dipping on the belts. You know what I mean? It's just like.
And I agree with you, Pete, too, that he, all those things you said is true. But I just want to, man, I would say for someone who, like you said, he can pick anything he wants. He's transcended the sport, but he's still fighting better people than almost everybody else. So think about that, right? If he's the A-side, he could be fighting bums for big money.
He's got a tremendous incentive. He's got a tremendous incentive to fight twice a year because he's on a schedule on those 2 dates. But you'll see that they're starting to wise up to it. Like after Floyd, they were wise to it. They're not going to give you $10 million per fight, no matter who you bring. It's not going to happen. We got the right to refuse those fights. So yeah, they might publicize 10-fight deal, $10 million, whatever, $20 million. In reality, we want GGG as one of them. We're gonna have a say. So we got the right, and that's what caused the big blow up. So he cut ties with Oscar, like Terrence Crawford cut ties with Arum, because they. I'm just saying it just leads to a funky, and that's why Benavidez signed with PBC, re-upped with PBC. If you want the Canelo fight, it's probably your best option is to not have a fucking promoter, not go under match, Top Rank. You see that? Because the whole division's in limbo. Don't forget, until you've seen how bad he was going to give you Makabu.
Pete, you're coming in muffled, man.
Yeah, but. I said, but there's always a justification, you know what I mean? Like, Jim was, Makabu was a cruiserweight, first 5-time Mexican cruiserweight, whatever. There's always but let's keep it real. I mean, when they shouldn't have that choice. It'd be better for the sport if nobody's bigger than the sport. Makes it easier.
And I think Canelo offered Andre Ward the fight for $8 million. He could have taken that. Now Andre Ward's been on that whole what is the saying? There's a life after boxing, and he expects to get respect out of people from that. Certain people will see that, oh, good for you, Andre Ward, for saying those words. Yeah, there's a life after boxing, but true boxing fans, they don't give a fuck about that, man. We want to see you fight.
Like, Gonzalo, you're breaking up, man. He's an
arrogant prick. He's an arrogant, condescending prick. Andre Ward, his handles. Who the fucking names? I mean, that's like a little presumptuous, do you think? But okay.
Well, listen. Before we continue,
the people who, all right. Well, I was going to say the people who if they retired aren't the same age Ward retired right now. Crawford, Spence, Lomachenko, go down the line. All these guys, the Charlo brothers, they'd all be retired right now. He retired at 32 years old. Walked away right when the fucking 160, when he 175, when he had the, Gavajic, Beterbiev, all those guys at light heavyweight coming up, and he was like, hey, I'm going to duck out.
That's unacceptable. But hey, the Canelo fight, that would have been a great Irish versus Irish fight. those two guys, they got that Irish blood in there. So I would have liked to have seen them, man. It would have been a dirty fight, that's for sure. We got two callers here. And before the phone lines close, I want to get to them. I hadn't seen them before. 386, you're on the air. 386, what's on your mind?
Yeah, what's up, guys? Just wanted to make touch on a point. I think Pete made a really good point, saying no fighter should ever be bigger than the sport and basically set their own wage and say, "Oh, I deserve this amount because my labor is X amount." Basically what Floyd said. And two other points, real quick. I think Andre Ward, Canelo, and Tyson Fury are all compromised fighters. When you have Daniel Kinahan, the Mexican cartel backing Canelo, and James Prince backing Andre Ward, they are all compromised by organized crime parties. And I don't think Andre Ward was ever a great defensive fighter. I think maybe at 168, but I really think he got away with a lot of dirty tactics. But I think the sport let PBC get a little too big because Al Heyman was breaking. I mean, still was breaking rules and laws left and right. The Ali Act, all that stuff.
Yeah, man. I mean, listen, the fucking Andrew, like I said, I didn't want to bring that guy's names up because I hear he's dangerous. But like I alluded to earlier, everyone talks about Kinahan. They don't talk about, Shakur Stevenson with that guy. They never really talked about Andrew Ward with that guy. But they'll talk low and high, up and down about the Kinahan fella. So, yeah, that's interesting. Now, Canelo, I hear he's friends with cartel members like Chavez was, but I don't know if they're handling him or managing him. So that's up. I mean, True. I'd like to get more info on that. I'd like to get more info. But it wouldn't surprise me because...
And if you're going to live in Mexico, you have family in Mexico, it's smart to be friends with the cartels who run whatever part, section of Mexico, because they're the most powerful people there, and probably if you're good friends, or at least you go by for a cookout or a fucking wedding or whatever at the cartel leader's house, he'd rather say, Canelo's my friend, because he's such a big dude in Mexico. He'd be less apt to kidnap your brother, your mother, your cousin, I'm just saying. I'm not saying that's what would happen.
They almost have to, Jimmy. Yeah, good point.
Right?
They almost have to be like buddies, just to show respect for Mexico. The cartel's going to say, we want to be associated with Canelo. He's the pride of Mexico. And, if the cartel comes to you, what are you going to say? Like, screw the cartel and have them murder you for just being disrespectful?
Yeah. Get the fuck out of here. That's what you say.
I'm going to call the police, and the cartel say, they're here to shoot you.
Most of the cartel people, man, they're hiding, man. They're not public, man. And if you own a business over there, they're gonna collect their percentage. If the cops will go down to your house, sent by the cartel, maybe it's just the cops. Who knows, man? Fucking, they'll get some money off of you, and if you ain't paying them, they ain't friends with nobody, man. They were trying to kidnap Canelo's brother. Canelo's living in San Diego most of the time nowadays.
So that's true. That rumor that his brother was trying to get almost was kidnapped. That's true, huh?
Yeah. Even now, when the cartel that was around during Chavez's time disappeared, the children when the children of those guys took over, then they went away and basically the hitmen were left. The gunners. Those guys tried to kidnap Chavez as well. So I mean, there's no loyalty amongst these guys, man. Yeah, don't think that Canelo's buddies with the cartel, man. Those dudes are.
They try to lure him in with Fruit Loops, a bowl of Fruit Loops.
Okay, what the fuck?
They can't sleep at night, man. They're not friends.
I'll tell you what, man. I'll tell you what. If the cartel came to me, if I had a business there, like a taqueria or something, and they come to me, they go, "Hey, man, we want a percentage." I poke their chest with my finger, say, "What the fuck are you gonna do about it?" That's how I roll. But listen, Jackson, let me ask you, man. Are there any Mexicans in Florida? How many Mexicans are there down there?
You had to put me on the spot. Only at the burrito restaurant I go to.
Come on. Wait a minute. See, I knew he was. I knew he was going to say something like that.
Good night, though. Good
show. You too, Action Jackson. Thank you for calling in, man.
Jackson, take it easy, brother.
All right, let's go to another phone call here. We've got 909. 909, you're on the air. 909, what's on your mind?
Hasta la vista, dude.
Hey, what's up, man? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, man.
Yeah, I just wanted to make a point on Canelo cherry-picking his fights. In my opinion, I think Canelo is just a hired gun for Eddie Reynoso.
And Eddie Reynoso, I think he understands that that Canelo needs to have the speed advantage. I feel like fighters that have speed advantage over Canelo gives Canelo problems, and that's why Eddie Reynoso has made Canelo move up in weight, because Canelo has the chin to take the punches of bigger fighters, and as long as he has the speed advantage, he'll do better against bigger fighters.
Interesting.
That's just the point I wanted to make, because I don't think Canelo cherry picks his opponents. I think Eddie Reynoso understands the fighter that he has in front of him, and he understands that Canelo needs to have a speed advantage to best these fighters, and he has a good enough chin to take the punch of a bigger fighter. So as long as he has a speed advantage, then he'll do good against anybody that's bigger than him.
You know what? From what I hear and read from Canelo's statements and all that, it does appear to be Reynoso who's the matchmaker in that whole thing. I think Canelo's just, you tell me who I fight, and when he's not training or fighting, he's enjoying the high life. And I think that's the way he wants it, and that's the way his handlers want it. You're right. I don't know how much of a call or a say Canelo has in choosing his opponents. He probably has a lot of confidence.
I'm curious, was it his call for Bivol? Because whoever made that call needs to be fired.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think for better or for worse, because I think Canelo trusts too much into Eddie Reynoso, where he doesn't adapt too much in between fights. He lets Eddie Reynoso control his fight throughout the fight. He doesn't react on his own instincts. Like, he just goes on. He's like a robot in there, and Eddie Reynoso just controls him no matter what. He trusts Eddie Reynoso more than he trusts himself, and that's an advantage so far in his career, but it's also a disadvantage when he gets caught into predicaments where Eddie Reynoso can't figure out these fighters, and it takes a fighter to be in the ring to figure out these fighters, and that's just the point I wanted to make. I don't think Canelo cherry picks his fights. Eddie Reynoso understands the fighter that's in front of him, and I think, like I said, Eddie Reynoso understands that Canelo has a great chin, and as long as he has a speed advantage against fighters, he'll do great against bigger fighters. And I feel like that's the reason why Canelo had moved up in weight, because I think he just has a good shot, a good chance to beat bigger fighters, because he has the skills, and as long as he has speed, his timing could negate that speed. And but I feel like anybody that's his size that's faster could give him problems.
Yeah.
That's just the point I wanted to make. Like
well, it's an interesting point. That's an interesting point. That's for sure, man. Because they probably don't want him in there against faster guys than him. But I don't know. I mean, it's he fought Daniel Jacobs not that long ago, and I thought he was just as fast, if not faster, than Canelo, and he beat him. So it might be, man, might be. But yeah, listen, Bivol, he has to stay away from Bivol. He's not winning that rematch. I'm sorry for the Canelo fans, but that's what it is. He's not beating.
Yeah,
Bivol.
he's not. Can I make this point real fast?
Sure.
Okay, you know who John? No, you know who Faraz Sahabi is?
Faraz Sahabi? Is he the UFC guy?
That's the stuff you put on sushi, right?
Of George St. Pierre.
Right. Yeah.
He on the Joe Rogan podcast. He said that he classifies fighters in three ways. Like he calls them fighters, martial artists, and athletes. And he says that the fighter is always there to kick your ass. The athlete is trying to win round by round, and the martial artist is trying to take your head out, and looking for which to try to get your head out. And then the way I classify it is Canelo's a martial artist and Bivol's an athlete, and there's no way he's going to take out a Bivol, because he's just a bigger athlete. He's not going to take him out. He's just a big dude. It's going to be hard to take him out. Bivol's there to win round by round. I don't think Canelo ever wins that fight. I think it's just a bad matchup style for him. Like, Bivol's an athlete, Canelo's a martial artist, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's never going to win that fight. That's the way he classifies fighters. Like, he says there's fighters, martial artists, and athletes. Fighters are trying to kick your ass from beginning to end. Martial artists are looking for ways to take you out, and athletes are trying to win the fight competitively. They're competitors.
Oh, he forgot the bull. He forgot the nutcrackers.
Bivol's an athlete.
He forgot the nutcrackers, like Andrew Ward. The nutcrackers. That's the fourth category. Guys like Andrew Ward.
Andrew Ward. He's like...
That was a good one, huh? That was a good one. All right, well, listen. Caller, good call. We got to go. But thank you for your call. Call back next time, right, man?
All right, man.
All right, take it easy, man. We do have to go, fellas. I got to go. That's more accurate there. But hey, listen. Canelo says he wants the Bivol fight, the rematch. So we'll see what happens there. And with that being said, fellas, we got to go. I want to give a big shout out to
Let's make Mr. B.A. pissed. Just make him mad and hey, I gotta go. I gotta go now.
I do gotta go. In fact, I gotta take a big old piss right now. Not to get too graphic, but listen, fellas, I want to give a shout out to Bucho, who was here earlier, Uncle Pete, Jimmy, Gonzalo. Always a pleasure talking to you. With you guys. Oh, fuck. You know what? I forgot to call fucking Chief. Oh, my God. I'm going to have to apologize online. Gosh, fuck. All right. Anyway, that's for online. What the fuck? Jimmy, what the fuck is that? Me, Mario. Oh, man, that's a good one. Hold on. Let me put it on the screen before we go. Jimmy just, I don't know if he made this or, but hold on.
Hamonites made that. He sent it to me earlier. Frog. Frog from colors.
I was actually dressing like that for a while. Well, not the pants all the way up to the fucking armpits, but the dickies and all that. Yeah, it was. That's kind of looks like me a little bit. All right, well, listen, fellas.
It's like Harvey Keitel in Taxi Driver with his pants on.
That's how my wife's mom rolls around. My grandma, my wife's mom, Haney, here in the Philippines.
He must have altered. He must have did something to the pants. They weren't that high in the movie. He must have fucked around and moved them up like 6 inches.
Man. I think so, because that just.
What the fuck? Holmes.
Hey, tell him to do some Daryl Brooks. Tell him to do some Daryl Brooks Photoshops, if you can.
All right. He's probably listening, but I will tell him if he isn't.
Imagine a Frog right there from Colors, where a boxer, and he rolled it, and he put his trunks that high in the fight.
Oh, well,
and
fucking.
The referee told you, he's telling him, hey, don't hit below the belt.
Lennox Lewis when he fought Holyfield, I think the first time he had the protector all the way up to the fucking armpits, man. It was insane. And then Holyfield did the same. No, excuse me. I think Holyfield did it to him in the first fight, and then Lewis said, all right, I'll do it too. And they just went back and forth. But anyway, listen.
De La Hoya versus Fernando Vargas, right?
That's another one, yeah. Too. Yeah, Johnny Tapia. They were all doing it circa 2001, 2002. But anyway, listen, fellas, we do got to go. Shout out to everybody. Hey, I want to give a shout out to everybody who called in, everybody who donated the super chat, and everybody in the chat. I'm talking about Arkan Imate, AJR, JC, Johnny Blaze, Epatokua, Puro Sur in the house as well. Shout out to Puro Sur, JC, Knockout Ned, Action Jackson in there as well, the Stray G Turo. If I forget anybody, guys, because we gotta go. Hit the like on the way out. That's right. What's the matter with you? And we'll catch you in the next one, folks.
Chocolatitos left jab, BD.
Nah, come on. Gonzalo, I'm gonna fucking